What is going on, everybody? It is episode 667 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I am here with my co-host. Introduce yourself, please.
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. I feel like Friday's episode cursed the world, and now everything is falling apart. There is a storm raging across the country. The stock market is crashing, but at least Trump is doing the YMCA dance.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that tomorrow.
Like, there's a silver lining to all of it.
Borderlands is going to fail at the box office. Everything's going wrong.
Yes, it just seems like everything is kind of collapsing right now. Maybe they all were right when they were saying that on Twitter. They were all right, saying everything is collapsing. It's all it's all being exposed.
Well, here's the thing. If you make enough predictions, you're eventually going to be right one time. If you predict the end of the world 355 times and you get it right on the 355th time, all anybody will remember is that you got right your prediction about the end of the world.
Yeah, eventually everything will be exposed.
Someday.
I went to see Trap over the weekend, which Brett really wanted me to tell you guys because I liked the movie. I wasn't obsessed with it, you know, like I didn't fall head over heels for it.
Hold your horses.
You know, yeah, like, you know, don't get too excited, but I did like the movie. It was definitely better than that last one M. Night Shyamalan put out. What was that again? Something Knock at the Cabin.
Oh, yeah.
Knock at the Cabin.
Knock at the Cabin.
This one was definitely better than that. He also cast his Nepo daughter as the pop star in the movie, which, you know, she wasn't too bad, really.
Did she have a lot of screen time?
Yeah, actually, more than I expected.
I expected that person to have, like, ancillary time.
Yeah, no, she was actually a big part of the movie, like, more so as in, like, the third act, but I expected it to take place in the setting of the concert. There was a surprising amount of it that wasn't.
Yeah. Like outside of the building?
Yeah, like without giving too many spoilers. I don't know what I should say. Also, do you know who plays the dad in that? I should look this up.
Is it Josh Hartnett?
Okay, maybe it was, yeah. He looks distractingly like Mark Wahlberg.
Maybe it's I mean, you have to look it up and double check, but
I also saw a preview for this movie with Mark Wahlberg in it where he plays this hitman. They're flying a witness
the guy on the plane.
Yeah, they're flying a witness to testify against a mob family, some kind of crime syndicate. And of course, Mark Wahlberg is the pilot, but he's actually impersonating the pilot, and he's a hitman, and he's evil. And
I'm okay with evil Mark Wahlberg characters.
I don't know if I can believe it. Like, good for him and everything. But the chick on the plane, I recognized her solely from Downton Abbey. Okay. And she was great in Downton Abbey. I don't know if anyone who watches this show would appreciate that. Shout out if you do, like, make yourself known if you love that show. But she is doing an American accent in this preview, and she's just delivering lines so badly. Because
that's just not a good American accent?
I don't know if it's that or if it's just her acting, but she was just like, we're going to die up here.
That's horrible on the part of the producers, because just about every British actor can do a perfectly fine, serviceable American accent these days.
I might not have even thought about it if I hadn't known her first from that show. But the lines these days, like, women are not able to deliver these lines with urgency.
It's all the Botox.
Is it the Botox or is it the antidepressants? I can't tell.
I first remembered it from I don't remember the actress's name, but like there's a couple of them that early on they got the really heavy Botox that was very noticeable, and it kind of really prevents you from being able to deliver lines.
But use your voice. Yeah. You know, use your voice to compensate for that. You know, falling short of your facial expressions. Use your voice. And she was just like, "We're gonna die up here."
I think it was Mark Wahlberg that had like a line back in the day talking about wanting to be on the plane because he would have been able to stop 9/11. I think he was one of those people.
Well, now he's the hijacker.
Every guy has every guy wants to be the person on the plane that stops the terrorists. So, you know, that makes perfect sense, except for this time he gets to flip the script and be the other guy. Are we going to review that one? Do you want to go review that one?
Oh, we'll see.
We'll have to wait and see about that one.
Yeah.
You should make a review for Trapped. People would like to see a review from you of something you actually like.
But when I like something, like there's nothing to say.
I tried to.
You know? It had like.
I'm the opposite though. I usually find stuff that I like when I understand the point, right? When there's stuff that you don't like, it's easier to talk about.
Yes.
Certainly when we do our reviews, that's easier. But when I find stuff that I like to vocalize it. But it usually doesn't. So people can kind of coalesce around something being stupid. When you like something, a lot of times it tends to be for your own reasons. So maybe it doesn't bind people together the way that disliking something does.
Obviously, because it's an M. Night Shyamalan movie, there were twists. There was like one big twist and a bunch of little twists. And I just thought, maybe he should try making a movie that doesn't have a twist. And that's the twist.
I mean, well, he's done a couple of them like that. But did Knock at the Cabin have a twist? Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did. It was. I don't
even remember what it was because it's just so expected from him now.
Yeah.
I don't take note of the twist.
Yeah.
Because it's just. All right, we're waiting for the twist.
Well, there you have it, guys. There's a movie that Mary liked. I advised her to make a list and publish it of all the things that she likes so that you guys could get an idea. Certainly, I tend to know what I think she'll hate. I don't know. When I see something, I don't know if she'll like it, but I definitely know when it's something that she's not going to like. One of those things is the recent Joe Rogan special that I watched it last night, and I just knew that Mary wouldn't like this. It just wasn't up her alley.
Was it giving the new norm?
It was giving a lot of like there was definitely a "did you assume my gender" joke that would have made you throw something at the screen.
My eyeballs.
I mean, it almost made me throw something at the screen. But guys, we're going to talk about the fact that Joe Rogan is under fire right now for the fact that he had some jokes about trans people and the LGBTQ community, amongst other things that they took great issue with. He spent a little bit of time in a 1-hour special talking about it, a little bit more talking about gay men than he did about trans individuals. But the media wasn't happy about it. They weren't happy about that Michelle Obama joke either. But, it's jokes. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the fact that Travis Kelce seems to be trying to uncancel Morgan Wallen, and the Swifties ain't happy about it.
Or really, he's just, being normal.
He's being a normal person. I'm being hyperbolic. He's being a normal person doing normal person things.
Normal celebrity things.
And Taylor Swift fans who are not normal are not happy about it.
Yeah.
I saw the same thing happen the other day because they were mad that Sabrina Carpenter went out to dinner with somebody that she doesn't get along, like Charlie XCX or something.
Wait, that Taylor Swift doesn't get along with?
Yes. I don't know. I'm assuming.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I'm assuming that that's what it was. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the Beast games. Mr. Beast is still coming under fire. He shifted the dialogue to another direction that's far less harmful. Hurting your average everyday man or woman is way less dangerous for your career than the stuff that was going on with Ava Chris Tyson. So he has successfully shifted the narrative via a very dangerous game.
We've been successfully psyoped by Mr. Beast because we're going to be talking about that.
So guys, hit the like button on this video and subscribe here. If you have not subscribed here yet already, please and thank you. And share the video with your friends and your family and your loved ones and the people you like, the people you don't like, everyone few and far in between. The more people you share it with, the faster shows like this grow. It is the best way to help us. So thank you so much for that. And remember that all Super Chats $20 and over, we will interrupt the discussion and we will read those Super Chats right then and there. So Mary, if you're ready, we can just get started. You ready?
I think I'm ready.
Okay, let's go ahead and get started then, shall we? First things first, bad news if you were looking forward to that Lando series that nobody remembered is happening. It has been canceled, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I did hear somebody saying that this is going to be made into a movie now. I don't know if that's actually still happening, but the show is canceled.
Well, it says it was pretty developed. There was a Bible, concept art, scripts, but it just wasn't meant to be. The answer is that you have to really face it. It is true grief. I've never had a child. I've never lost a child, but it's what I imagine that pain might be like. You pour so much of your heart and soul into something, but ultimately you don't have control over whether it lives or dies, and it is a true grieving process.
Okay, first of all, let's point out the elephant in the room in that comment. People were giving the dude a lot of crap. Even on the Star Wars, even on Star Wars Twitter, they were giving him a lot of crap for making the comparison to losing a child.
Okay. That's very bizarre.
But it is one of the hallmarks of Hollywood is that you have zero control over what stuff gets made or not. One of my favorite things to do is to go look through actors like past projects and past possible projects, and you see just how many things they like shoot pilots for that never end up making it to air, and that's just on network television. We're not even including streaming, where projects get announced every day and stuff just goes and dies on the vine. We
could be incorrect about this though, because I think that this quote from Justin Simien is from an interview back in June 2023.
But it says published 3 days ago.
Yeah, but I'm looking at a clarification that was also recent from a few days ago.
So is the movie that's getting made?
Yeah, this was a review. It was revealed in June 2023 that he was taken off the series and that Donald Glover and Stephen Glover were taking over creative duties.
But I remember that they were making a movie about it, but I thought they were doing both.
Well, it says Donald Glover gave an update on Lando earlier this year saying that he was glad to be able to have control over the project. It allows the vision to be singular. So they're saying that it wasn't canceled.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So the movie is still going forward.
Well, I guess maybe this was just about the series.
I mean, it makes more sense, right? If Donald Glover is taking over, he's going to have more creative control than Justin Simien. Donald Glover being a bigger name in Hollywood and a writer on top of not just being an actor.
Is it fair of me to not really get the hype around first of all, the idea of a Lando series or a Lando movie or Donald Glover in general?
Look, Donald Glover is one of those guys that was very, very indicative of the time between 2016 and 2019.
Yeah.
Right? Like he's very
he's not cool anymore, right?
Did anybody watch Mr. and Mrs. Smith?
No.
And they're not coming. That show's getting a season 2, and he nor the girl are coming back.
Yeah, that's really weird.
So
don't know how you do that.
I guess turn it into an anthology series of many different Mr. and Mrs. Smiths.
It's a terrible idea.
But
it was a terrible idea in the first place.
After what was the song? This Is America. Like that was kind of
was his peak.
He hit the cultural high.
Donald Glover's downfall should be studied.
It is the worst saying in the world, ladies and gentlemen. I hate that. I hate that saying.
You know who else's downfall needs to be studied?
Who?
Zachary Levi.
Oh yeah, because his new movie Harold and the Purple Crayon made like $9 million total at the box office this weekend. I saw somebody actually say that it might have to do with Deadpool. I'm like, those are literally the complete opposite audiences.
Well, this is supposed to be for children, but once again, he's an adult playing a child.
He's being typecast.
He's being typecast a little. So, yeah, it's doing really badly because they insisted on using an IP that no one cares about.
Yeah.
Just for the sake of using an IP.
They have the upside of, I think they only spent $40 million on this movie, at least before marketing.
Okay.
But I looked at his, because I was looking at all the threads that were going on, talking. What I hate about it is when somebody makes that thread, and I don't think I have it pulled up here. When somebody makes this thread, it's gleefully because they disagree with them politically.
Well, of course.
They don't want to study it. They want to laugh and mock at you. But I will be fair that I went and looked at Zachary Levi's Instagram over the weekend, and I saw nothing about Harold and the Purple Crayon and a lot about campaigning for RFK Jr. So, that's fine.
Bro, maybe promote your movie.
RFK isn't going to keep you warm at night, but money might. So maybe promote your film rather than, it just didn't make any sense to me, right? Maybe he was promoting elsewhere. Maybe it was not on his Instagram that he was promoting.
They have chronicled here his downfall from being in Shazam, Fury of the Gods.
No, that's the start of the downfall.
That's the beginning of the downfall. To Spy Kids Armageddon.
I just saw Shazam, Fury of the Gods, and it was perfectly fine. It was
that was like...
But it was really funny because I pointed out to someone, I say all the time, I don't think Lucy Liu actually gets enough credit for just how charismatic of an actress she is. And even next to Helen Mirren, she was infinitely more fun to watch on. Okay, my headphones were cutting out there.
Okay.
She was infinitely more fun to watch on screen than any of the other characters, and even that same night,
Even Rachel Zegler,
who's in that movie. But then it's funny because we started watching the OC, and then I pointed out that Adam Brody, and we were like, what did we see him in recently? He was literally the thing we watched right before that. Adam Brody's in that movie. He plays Freddy's old, superhero Freddy. But Zachary Levi, Chuck is his big role. That's the one that more people, even more than Shazam, I think, more people will love and adore him for the 5 seasons of Chuck than they ever will for playing a mid-level DC superhero.
Yeah, I mean, I've never watched him in anything. I'm only aware of him because he's kind of hated in a Chris Pratt sort of way.
They did a thing where they put his picture next to Chris Pratt, next to John Krasinski, and they said he's the guy who plays he wears a tie in an office uniform, and he plays a comedy relief guy who then gets jacked on HGH and tries to make his shift to big budget films. And John Krasinski and Chris Pratt obviously did so more effectively, but he's not hurting. He's still getting roles. He's just not the same level of a John Krasinski or a Chris Pratt.
Not even close. Very
few people are a Chris Pratt.
Now they posted a photo of a sweepstakes that Zachary Levi is a part of, paid for by RFK Jr.'s campaign. It's called Star-Studded Cruise in Marina del Rey with RFK Jr. and Cheryl Hines. And they have Zachary Levi, Tim Dillon, House and Habit, actually, who we love. And Drea De Matteo is on here as well.
I saw another one. Didn't I see one that it was like a fundraiser for Kamala Harris, and it was win a one-on-one Zoom call with Jennifer Garner, and nobody.
Oh, it wasn't Jennifer Garner. I think it was who was it?
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes, I do.
It was a very sad image of them on a Zoom call by themselves.
Yeah, I remember that. People don't really care about that.
I thought it was Jennifer Garner. Maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe it was the girl who played child Jennifer Garner in 13 Going on 30.
Oh, I have no idea.
Maybe I'm wrong.
But yeah, so what it is, guys, is that when you have politics that they don't like, they love to mock you and make fun of you for no longer being relevant. The problem is all the things that they listed was he was in some old Disney stuff, but that doesn't matter to most adults. The most adults that love him because he was Chuck.
What was he in on Disney?
I don't remember what the character was, but I just remember that they say his fall. He was in Miss Maisel as well, which I did not watch, but they're saying that his fall off happened right after Chuck. But I would say that that's not necessarily true, because getting a role in a DC film at all when you're a TV actor back then was still a pretty big accomplishment.
Well,
and I'm sure he'll be fine.
It still is. It's just not as much of an accomplishment.
And also, did the Spy Kids thing? I mean, I'm totally not the target demographic. Did that already come out, or is that next year?
I wasn't remotely interested in it from the beginning.
So maybe RFK is paying him big bucks so he can.
you got to make your money somehow. You got to get that bag somehow. I respect it.
Well, another thing that's dying on the vine right now is Borderlands, guys. $100 million budget, which I'll give them. At least it's not a $200 million budget like everything else that's failing right now.
Could be worse.
The Fall Guy was $170 million. $100 million budget. Here's the problem. It's looking to only open to $10 or $20 million.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of people when I posted about this on Twitter. They were all fan casting or saying the casting in this movie is one of the worst things they've ever seen. It's very clear that the people who are making it don't have any desire to actually make a faithful adaptation of the game. But a lot of things are failing right now. For instance, Twisters is already coming out on streaming in less than a month, or in less than a month after it was released.
Why is that? It's not doing well enough in theaters?
I have no idea. It's gonna, if they're lucky, it'll break even at the theaters, but I'm sure that it'll make it will at least go above the even point once it gets its money on pay VOD before it makes it to streaming. But they're not giving these movies any time at the box office to just sit. It's not like the weekly drops.
They're not letting it marinate.
Yeah, the weekly drops for this film aren't super bad, so I don't know why they have to keep doing that. But they don't have any faith in films having legs, except for Inside Out 2, which just hit its 8th week, I think.
That's crazy.
And outgrossed Harold and the Purple Crayon.
Well, of course.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not surprised by that in the slightest. But I don't know anything about the Borderlands video game, so I wouldn't be able to critique it from that perspective.
There's just no interest in it.
Yeah, for me, like I just watched the trailer and it was big.
You can have Cate Blanchett, you can have Jamie Lee Curtis, but you can't have them both in the same film.
Like, how are you gonna put old ass Cate Blanchett and Jamie Lee Curtis in the same movie on like both with a huge placement on the movie poster as well?
I said like that much.
Is that ageist for me to say that? Probably.
No, because I told you, I said, yeah, you have a limit of 1 cottage cheese actress per movie. You don't get to have 2. I'm sorry, I don't make the rules.
Yeah, not to say like they don't have it going on for their age or whatever, but that's just strange. And
Jamie Lee Curtis does not have it going on for her age. I'm making the statement there. I just said it.
I'm just thinking about our back and forth messages about Jamie Lee Curtis from the other day. I was sending you pictures of her for our thumbnail.
Yeah, we don't speak of that here. We don't speak of that here. All right, so we'll keep an eye on it. We'll see where it does. We're not going to be reviewing Borderlands this week, but what's our next movie that we're going to be talking about? Is there anything coming up?
Well, I thought there was one I mean, we're going to see like Alien, right?
I believe we'll see Romulus.
That's coming out soon. When is that?
End of August.
Yeah. Would you guys be interested in that review?
Or what else comes out in the same?
There's Reagan coming out. Beetlejuice 2 is coming out in October.
Yeah.
Or maybe September.
That makes more sense in October.
Yeah. Other than that, not much.
Yep.
Not much here.
But Disney has a bunch of stuff still in the docket this year, so we'll have to wait and see what it comes from. But there's an update in the Francis Ford Coppola journalists who work for rival outlets that are both owned by the same company beef.
Yeah, so Variety and Deadline, the big trade magazines, have been in a continued battle over the reputation of Francis Ford Coppola.
It's the illusion of choice, ladies and gentlemen. You think you can either be Team Deadline or Team Variety, but just understand that you're Team, what is it, Penske Media? You're either way, they're owned by the same company.
Wait, they are? I thought we looked into it and found out that they weren't.
No, I believe Variety and
They're both owned by the
Variety
same
and Deadline
company.
are both.
That's funny. Okay, so Deadline responded to Variety's expose on the Megalopolis set.
Penske
and Francis
Media.
Ford Coppola, GROPEola-ing all of these extras. They interviewed one of the extras named Raina Menz, who claimed that Francis Ford Coppola did nothing to make me or anyone on set feel uncomfortable. Which is just kind of a crazy statement to make on behalf of like hundreds of other people who you have no idea how they felt about being kissed by Francis Ford Coppola. So Variety responded to them by interviewing one of the extras in the video who decided to come forward specifically because of that statement. She said that she was in the nightclub sequence when Coppola approached her, pulled her toward him, hugged, and kissed her. She said, "I was in shock. I didn't expect him to kiss and hug me like that. I was caught off guard. And I can tell you, he came around a couple times."
So he was
going in multiple times, double dipping.
Some very like evil music building to a crescendo as he walks by.
Yeah, this says Lauren Pagone decided to come forward when Raina Menz, the other extra, told Deadline that Coppola didn't do anything wrong. She declined to comment for this piece from Variety, but Lauren Pagone was upset that Menz would speak for the entire cast and crew of the film, saying, "I don't appreciate anybody speaking for me. I would never speak for that actress. I've kept my mouth shut. I've kept quiet, but it's frustrating that she's putting out there, hey, it was great for everyone, when she doesn't know what other people were feeling. You can't speak for anyone but yourself, and my experience was different."
I mean, this is what happens anytime people argue about politics online. Literally every time they say like, that's offensive to so-and-so community. Well, you don't speak on behalf. Did you see the crazy thread about Nerdrotic over the weekend?
No, by the time I saw it, the thread was gone.
But
so I don't know
the guy's like, we've allowed this guy to operate for too long. I'm like, who are you and who are you to decide who the hell gets to operate?
Like,
dude, that's insane.
Is he an employee at the White House? Because if he's not operating.
He works for the Internet Inc.
What does that mean?
I have.
So what was the
It was crazy. So the craziest thing about it is he makes it about basically like he says mean things and he says vaguely offensive things. Therefore, he shouldn't be allowed to operate.
Okay, but all of the people who are fans of Nerdrotic appreciate that. Yeah. So who are you convincing to like
people that already don't like him?
Right, like you're accomplishing nothing. Yeah. People who don't like him are going to continue not liking him.
It was really funny,
like him
and then
continue liking him.
Nerdrotic had the best response. He posted a picture of the quartering and says, "My channel has come under attack."
Oh yeah, I saw that.
It was fantastic, and I read that thread, and it is true that once you reach somebody of Gary's success, you're gonna get insane threads written about you. Also, anybody who puts a thread, I just automatically dismiss it most of the time.
Or the little thread emoji.
It had the thread emoji.
The spool emoji.
It had the thread emoji. But the point being that, he decided to speak for everyone on the internet and say that, we've allowed this guy to operate for too long. That's kind of the same thing here, as they're saying like nobody was offended by what he did. Well, you can't speak for everyone.
Sure. I mean, I don't necessarily believe either one of them. But I just think it's funny to watch the trades battle it out for the reputation of the director who's like too old to care.
Not just Variety and Deadline, but the Hollywood Reporter too. So all three.
Oh, they're all in on
all
it.
Three owned by Penske Media. So what we need right now
Maybe this is all just like engagement bait.
What we need is for the Hollywood Reporter to weigh in from a third perspective.
I guarantee we're the only people who care about this.
There is a $50 super chat there from Corey Anderson. How you doing, buddy?
He said, I love the Borderlands games. The casting of this movie is horrible. IMDb indicates they cut out 2 of the main characters. Yep. Lilith and Tanis are supposed to be young. Lilith is Roland's ex. I don't see Kevin and Galadriel knocking boots. Complete crap.
Probably not. I mean, man, I highly doubt that Cate Blanchett is really Kevin Hart's type. But maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong.
Don't judge a book by its cover.
I've been told reliably that you're not supposed to judge books by covers. So what do I know?
Okay. Well, thank you for your insight.
Yes.
As a fan.
But again, like people keep talking about how much that people don't care about, how much the Hollywood doesn't care about video game adaptations. But they've got the second season of The Last of Us just premiered a trailer the other day that nobody seemed to like. It got a little bit of attention, but not nearly the attention that the first season got.
It's not the trailer yet. It's the teaser trailer. I mean, they made sure to put Pedro Pascal's face in there.
Yes.
So that everybody comes back and doesn't think that he's gone. But, I'm sure he's going to be gone by the end of the first episode. So.
You think so? You think they get him that quickly?
What's the point of adapting a story-based game that was already cinematic, where everyone knows the plot points? Everyone knows what's going to happen, right? You're drawing in the audience who like the game.
You know what it is, though?
But they already know everything that happens in the story.
But here's the thing. Like, people say all the time they're sick of them adapting stuff and changing it. So they're like, oh, you want us to change stuff now? Now you want us to change stuff? I thought you wanted it to be the way it was in the game.
The ultimate fan service for this specific game would be to adapt it in a way that Joel lives. And just like say F it, like mutiny.
Yeah. I mean, if this was The Walking Dead, they'd give him a spin-off show called Joe Lives.
Right. Where like the whole time Ellie thinks that he died, but they don't have to address that.
It's turning into a telenovela at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
It's turning into a telenovela at that point.
Do you want to talk about Hulk Hogan?
No, you wanted to show the Chrissy Mayer video.
I don't know. I thought you wanted to talk about Hulk Hogan.
I thought you wanted to do the Chrissy Mayer video next.
Okay.
You wanted to show this. So I haven't watched this yet.
Well, this just reminded me of Francis Ford Coppola because
she
did a mock interview with Zack Snyder about Rebel Moon.
What? This isn't real? I couldn't tell by the green screening. Here we go.
It's done incredibly well.
Now, why a director's cut? Usually when there's a director's cut, it's because the studio interfered. Who made the movie?
I made the movie.
Some people have said that this is a ripoff of Star Wars. Would you agree with that assessment?
Yep.
Oh, wow. Okay. So how does the technology compare? Specifically, the laser swords versus the lightsabers. How does that work in this universe? How do the spaceships work?
Because it's science fantasy, it has that. We don't really have any. There's no real hard science in it. It's like, how do the spaceships work? I don't care.
So why do people need to watch this version?
There's a lot of sex and a lot of violence and a lot of sci-fi fantasy, so it really, really heavy metals itself.
Were there any limitations on sex?
There's a lot of sex in it.
Violence, or even the editing, so that this didn't have to be 3.5+ hours?
So we try not to police ourselves too much. There's a lot of sex in it.
I'm just curious, based on your answers, is this film a reflection of your own sexual proclivities?
Yeah.
Zach, how did you define your own sex life?
Way more brutal. It's way more, but it's also more bizarre. It's just more. It's more Verhoeven-esque, I guess, if you want to think about it in those ways.
3 ways?
Yep. Yep.
Do you have a nickname for your penis?
Conan the Barbarian.
Oldest woman you've ever been with?
Late 70s, early 80s.
80s?
Yep.
More than once?
Yep.
How are you able to perform with women that age?
I wasn't worried about it as much. And so we really, because then we just had to dig in and start doing it our way.
Well, there you have it, folks. Go watch the director's cut, I guess.
There's a lot of sex in it.
I get it.
Okay. It's funny. I just saw a thread the other day that said like his next movie will be like a low budget film with no CGI, and I said this is a trick because it doesn't require visual effects to overcrank a camera and put everything into slow motion. You can still film a whole movie that's 7.5 hours long because it's all shot at 120 frames a second.
You can only slow-mo so many things.
Well, he can do as much as he wants. Look, you don't even really need it to have lens flares. All you have to do is light it properly. So he can do this whole thing in pre-production and then in camera. So he'll be fine. But we are going to talk about Hulk Hogan because apparently, guys, it's looking like Ben Affleck will be playing Hulk Hogan in an upcoming movie about the killing of Gawker. If you guys remember correctly, not that long ago, I don't remember how many years ago it was, that Hulk Hogan sued Gawker Media because they published a sex tape of him doing his friend's wife.
Yeah,
and he's like, you violated my privacy.
Back in 2015.
Bubba the Love Sponge's wife. Him and Bubba the Love Sponge's wife got busy on camera, and Gawker published it, and he's like, hey, you violated my privacy.
That's illegal, isn't it?
I believe so. I have no idea.
That just seems illegal, but what do I expect
Well, then why does
from
that?
journalists?
But I mean, like, actresses have their nudes published by these places all the time.
Not by journalists.
I guess they're leaked.
They're leaked by
like,
random hackers, not actual respected publications.
Respected.
But, that just seems illegal to me. And he did win that lawsuit.
Yep.
So basically, it's based on a screenplay that was adapted from the February 2018 book Conspiracy, Peter Thiel, Hulk Hogan, Gawker, and the Anatomy of Intrigue by Ryan Holiday.
I think he's just trying to get out of the house. I think he just doesn't want to be around J-Lo.
Maybe. He's just trying to occupy his time. So if this project goes forward, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon would be playing Hulk Hogan and Peter Thiel, respectively. Yep. There had long been talk of a Netflix Hulk Hogan biopic starring Chris Hemsworth, but that project has stalled, and if Gawker goes forward, it could be Ben Affleck hitting the screen as Hulk Hogan first instead.
I think him and Matt Damon are just going to make all the biopics these days.
Yeah, they're just kind of... you can kind of superimpose them into a lot of things. It makes sense. They
did the Nike one. So Hulk Hogan is 5 inches taller than Ben Affleck. So he's going to have to wear
camera tricks.
He's going to have to wear some. I mean, if Tom Cruise
they're not
can get away with,
they're not going to recreate the sex tape, right?
I wouldn't be surprised if they do.
Oh, no.
I mean, would that shock you?
I guess not anymore.
I mean, that really wouldn't shock me these days.
So in this situation, I just learned this myself, but Peter Thiel was basically the Elon Musk to Hulk Hogan's Gina Carano.
Yeah, he funded the lawsuit because they screwed him over too.
Right, so Peter Thiel was motivated to take down Gawker because they had published negative things about him in the past. he has more money than he knows what to do with, so he funded the lawsuit, and it worked.
You know why I think he's making this movie? I think he loves Hulk Hogan secretly, and he's like,
Ben Affleck does?
Yeah, no, I'm being sarcastic here, but he's going through a midlife crisis right now. Did you see this?
Yeah.
They were talking about he got a faux hawk, and he's going out in a motorcycle jacket. I think that she broke him. I think that
that looks crazy. That looks nothing like him. He almost looks like Hugh Grant in that photo.
I think that
J-Lo, not good.
I think that J-Lo is kind of like a succubus, and she sucked the life force out of him, and he has to reinvent himself as someone else so that he can get through the day.
Jeez.
He's got to rediscover his manhood.
Maybe this is gonna awaken something in him.
That's what it
you
is.
know.
And they're
playing this role, he's gonna method act.
Or maybe he's gonna be in a movie. Maybe he's going undercover as a.
That haircut is it's just F my shit up. He went to the barber and said F my shit up. That's literally what it is. That is not a look for him.
No, it's not.
I mean, you just almost jump scared us with his back tattoo.
Yes, I forgot about that.
That was a whole quarter life crisis, that tattoo.
Well, you'll have one in about 10 or 20 years as well, you know. I mean, but when you think about it, when you've got that much money, you don't just buy a Ferrari. Or I guess you don't even buy a midlife crisis for an average person is what you buy a Corvette. He can't buy a Corvette for a midlife crisis. He's got to do something spectacular. So he married J-Lo and then realized it was a mistake, and now he's going to try to get his mojo back.
Do you think he's going to be juicing for this role?
I mean, maybe what he should do is try to marry Ana de Armas. Because he was with Ana de Armas. Maybe he should break up with J-Lo, try to get back with Ana de Armas. That's what he should do.
I think he should get back with Jennifer Garner.
It's not going to happen, man.
He's clearly happier when he's around her.
Now it's really funny because like I see she owns like some other business that has like, she does like commercials for Capital One. And so now whenever I see like on the Roku channel or Freevee, there's commercials with her on there. She's like, you might remember me from my other job.
That's
very annoying.
The most corporate friendly thing I've ever heard.
Yep. All right, let's move on then, guys. We'll leave Ben Affleck to his midlife crisis. We'll check back in on him when the divorce goes through.
Yeah.
We don't know whether that's actually happening or not, but let's go. Let's move on. So there are rumors going around. Again, I want to stress rumors that Marvel is going through a bit of a house cleaning mode right now. They seem to have been, at least according to Chris Gore, fired a lot of what they would call woke producers and are trying to get back to just making good old-fashioned entertainment.
Yeah, so Chris Gore claims to have been told by Marvel insiders that Kevin Feige and Marvel have cleaned house, fired anyone who was a woke activist within the executive. He said, I do know people who work at Marvel. They have cleaned house. Quietly, months ago, they fired all the producers that could be labeled activist. But that's not the same situation for Lucasfilm. He says, Lucasfilm is lost. They're doubling down on all the nonsense. You will never get anything good out of Lucasfilm and Star Wars. That's it. But Kevin Feige recognizes, basically, we tried it. It didn't work. Okay. He's talking about Phase 4. It didn't work. No Kang, none of these side characters that don't have the legacy of classic characters. And if Deadpool and Wolverine proves anything, you've heard the phrase, male and pale is stale. That was spoken aloud across studios. But if you look at box office this year, I would say male and pale is money. And that's the phrase that I think people should more adopt.
What's interesting is, from what I remember, and I could be wrong about this, is that Kevin Feige always wanted to go the direction that they went in Phase 4. Like, he always wanted to do that. And it was like Ike Perlmutter early on in Marvel days that kind of played as a bit of a stopgap to prevent him from doing that. And, you know, they built their success off the back of Iron Man and, you know, and Captain America, white characters. And then what they tried in Phase 4, you know, complain about the diversity all you want, and that is certainly a problem with it. I think a lot of it is also that people show up for characters they know and recognize. People that, like when we went to see Deadpool and Wolverine, there was people wearing Deadpool sweatshirts and Wolverine shirts.
Well, it just so happens that those characters they know and recognize and love are most of the time white males.
But we also talked about how...
Not like there's anything wrong with that, but that's just true.
But we also talked about how when we were there, perhaps the biggest reaction anyone got was when Blade came out and Wesley Snipes was there as Blade. And people made a big deal about that because they care about him and they care about the legacy of that character. A lot of people don't realize that Ryan Reynolds was in Blade Trinity back in the early 2000s. So they were actually in a Blade movie together. But if it's quietly firing all these activists, I guess. But here's the thing. Feige, even if he did want to try this in phase 4 and then it failed, before that, he has a proven track record as an extremely successful producer on his own. A lot of Kathleen Kennedy's success prior to taking over Lucasfilm was working under Steven Spielberg. So she doesn't have the unobstructed track record that Kevin Feige had on his own. Mm-hmm. So when it comes down to it, he's just a bit better at his job than she is. And perhaps it's the remnants of the strike that means that they have to crunch numbers now. Certainly, I've been reading a lot of things about actors who are just not getting any work right now because a lot of places aren't greenlighting anything, and they have to be more choosy about the projects that they put out. Mm-hmm. So they're not willing to take the risks they were several years ago. That could change in the next year because Disney is having a bit of a banner year with the success of Inside Out and Deadpool, because Deadpool just crossed, I think, 824 million as of Sunday, and it's going to hit $1 billion very, very quickly. It had a $97 million weekend this past weekend in its second weekend, which means it did better in its second weekend than most films could hope to get in their first.
I think I saw a headline that they actually did surpass The Passion of the Christ in domestic box office.
It says it's the 6th biggest domestic opening of all time among any film, 4th biggest Hollywood superhero opening, biggest R-rated opening both domestically and globally, biggest July opening of all time domestically, biggest domestic opening since Spider-Man No Way Home in 2021. And that's what this movie feels like to me, is it feels like Spider-Man No Way Home, which had infinite interest from the general public, you know, normies, people that go to the movies to see the big characters that people know, meaning Spider-Man, meaning Iron Man, meaning Deadpool, meaning Wolverine. All of these are characters that people will show up for. I'm sorry, but all of the people in the Eternals, nobody gave a crap about. Nobody did.
I'm trying to think, like, what was the last Marvel movie that wasn't Guardians of the Galaxy that
I mean, Doctor Strange made a lot of money, but it just should have made more. Like, but Doctor Strange should have been $1 billion movie.
Ant-Man Quantumania did not do well.
No.
Is that just because that character... I mean, I don't know because I'm not...
Yeah.
I'm not into the comics, but is Ant-Man a big enough character to draw people in?
I think like just after or prior to the end of Phase 3, yes. He could bring you in because the interest was around the phases and around getting to Infinity War and then to Endgame. But on his own, without the allure of getting to... It's the same thing that happened with the Marvels, right? Captain Marvel made $1 billion in 2019 leading up to Endgame. And then when the Marvels comes out, when there's no Endgame or Infinity War to follow up, it made like nothing.
Right.
So
to be expected.
It really is about the size. Like, so Deadpool, Wolverine, Iron Man, those are characters that are bigger than the machine itself now. The rest of these characters are reliant on the phases in the Marvel machine to draw interest. Again, Doctor Strange did well, but a lot of people think that it just should have made more money than it did. I think if somebody can correct me, it made into the $900 million mark, so it didn't quite hit $1 billion, but that's because it had like as good of an opening weekend as Deadpool and Wolverine did, but then horrible word of mouth shrunk its ability to get to $1 billion.
So people were really excited when they saw Blade's cameo in this movie, but what's going on with the Blade project? Like, is that ever gonna happen?
Still working on it. Who knows if it's... I mean, Marshall Ali is gonna be retired by the time this thing ends up getting made.
It's like they're prioritizing bullshit like Coven of Chaos and like Ironheart.
I mean, Agatha being what it was already has been renamed like 5 times.
Whatever it is now, I forget.
And Ironheart has been put on the back burner like 7 times. I mean, remember they were promoting Ironheart in Black Panther in Wakanda Forever, and that was over a year ago.
Yeah, I've forgotten.
And that was over
everything
a year
about
ago
her. And I don't know if that's gonna happen.
But it's not like, look at this, guys. So Disney became the first studio of 2024 to cross $3 billion globally. They made $4.82 billion last year in total, right? But they still have Alien, Moana 2, and Mufasa coming out this year. Now,
no one cares about Mufasa.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Like, look, I think Moana 2 is going to make good money. I think Moana 2 is going to make a lot of money.
Moana 2, fine. Mufasa, no one cares about that. Am I wrong?
We're going to have to look. Back in the day, I would have said yes. Remember, like, people always give me crap for slandering Simba's Pride. Like, you know, like the made for TV or the straight to DVD sequels. Yeah. But these days, I feel like IP is so important that they can just make, you know, sequels to movies that never had big screen sequels before and get away with it making good money.
But it's the live action.
No, it's not an adaptation of the original straight to DVD sequel.
Right. It's literally like live action animals.
It's a prequel.
That are. Am I wrong? It's not animated. It's CGI.
Not like, it's
photorealism.
But it's not real. They're not real animals.
Soulless, emotionless animals.
Yeah.
I think we reacted to the trailer.
Yeah.
No, kids don't want to see that.
If it makes money, it's going to make money off of millennials.
I guess. I never understood the Lion King hype. That just wasn't part of my childhood. Maybe that's more of a millennial thing. You're right.
Yeah. If it does, it's going to make its money off of the millennials. I don't know if I was just reading.
I'm too old for Moana, but too young for Lion King. So I just don't care about any of it.
You're in the middle somewhere.
Yeah.
Look, I think Moana 2 is going to make a lot of money. The only people I've seen outside of our circle of people who talk about this stuff, talking about movies, have been talking about Moana.
Yeah, I told you I was on a plane and I heard this woman talking about Moana 2 and that she was really excited to see it.
I saw multiple people at the store the other day wearing like Moana shirts. So
yeah, it's a thing.
We'll have to wait and see if that ends up making its money. But it looks like
they should make like a Lilo and Stitch Moana crossover movie.
Well, we're 7 months into the year, so they've still got plenty of time to cross what they made last year.
Yeah.
So I think that they will.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if Moana 2 ended up making close to $1 billion.
It was a rough year for them last year, and the year before that, and the year before that, but they're back. Is Disney so back?
We'll have to wait and see.
Okay.
We'll have to. I mean, also, like, when you look at it, like, they're making a lot of money based on the budgets too, right? Because they didn't spend the money that they were spending before. Mm-hmm. So, all right, let's go ahead and move on then, shall we? Yeah. What would you like to see? Cringe or cute of the day?
I don't know.
We'll do cringe first. It's always better to do cringe first. All right.
It's too much pressure.
Speaking of animated stuff, here we go. You sent me this. I have not watched this yet, so here we go.
If you scroll away from this video, then what are you doing? You see an animator depicted a minion dying on the cross. I mean, complete with a crown.
Have you heard the story behind this picture? Well, it's unbelievable. You should watch this to the end. There was this animator and he was messing around one day when he suddenly created a minion and the minion died on a cross.
You need to see this. This animator was messing around and he decided to create a minion that was being crucified just like Jesus.
Check this image out. Someone created a minion who died on the cross.
We work too hard. Like, this is the stuff we should be making.
These are the shorts that we should be putting up.
Like, we could, in fact, you know what we should do? We should make our own version of this for tomorrow's Instagram Instagram reel.
I don't want to promote Minion Jesus.
You should say, like, you should check this out. Some content creators made some videos about a guy who made a picture of a minion on a cross. It'll be like Minionception.
Minion meta.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
You should do that. That's
this is just so amazing. You see, there was this animator.
Okay, I don't know what amazing is the word I would use for it.
Who decided to make an illustration of how Jesus died on the cross for you and for me. He decided to make.
So he's putting some, you know.
He did the best job of like presenting the concept.
Like he's putting it out there in like a positive way. Like he's helping kids understand just what Jesus did for them.
This one is.
If you scroll away from this video, then what are you doing? Look.
It's like.
Look, there was this animator, right, and he was messing around one day when he suddenly created a minion.
You scroll away. It's like somebody created DJ Khaled from memory.
Yeah, me when I draw DJ Khaled from memory.
That's literally like I saw that guy and I'm like, we the best music.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well,
another one. Another minion.
All right. With that being said, I saw.
That was just the worst brain rot I've come across in a while.
The other day, it was like DJ Khaled shows you his ice cream fridge.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, wait, I am jealous. Maybe he needs to lay off the ice cream. Though.
I mean, here's the thing: like when you're that successful, right? He's like, look, it's like, nobody cares. Like I can beat this bitch.
Well, he's Muslim, right? So he can't drink.
So he's got to. You
gotta eat ice cream. Like have something you enjoy in life.
Exactly. Everybody needs that thing. Remember, I said maybe this the other day. I was reading that article. It says like Gen Z is spending all of their extra money on food. Like they're spending all of their extra income on good food, and it's like, you know what it is? You said that they're not going out, they're not partying, they're not drinking.
Yeah.
They're all probably medicated via big pharma. But they're not partaking in the usual things that millennials and previous generations did to, cut loose.
So
they're just like, you know what? I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna eat some good food.
They DoorDash? Is that what it is?
Probably.
Or is it that they're like grocery shopping because
probably
groceries are so damn expensive that you have to spend all of your money on
Yesterday we were at Ollie's and I found grilled cheese and tomato soup
Don't tell
Cheetos.
me it's... Oh, okay.
Like
that's not a bad
puffs.
idea. I thought you were going to tell me that it's like pre-packaged grilled cheese and tomato soup, and I was like, we're truly hopeless.
No.
But I bet that exists somewhere.
It was like the puffy Cheetos.
Did you get it?
Brand. Yes. It literally tastes exactly like tomato soup. The bite tastes like tomato soup, and the aftertaste tastes like grilled cheese. It's insane. You just
need
know
to be afraid of the chemicals that they have access to.
Oh yeah,
Brett.
you know that there was just some scientist measuring out beakers.
And I can hear Alex Clark shaming you now.
When I was eating it, I was like, "Take the Alex Clark."
I'm gonna eat all of the MSG I want.
Okay, here's the thing. I think we should start a second channel where we just eat ridiculous, try ridiculous foods.
Sure.
I'm
down.
Yes.
Why not?
And only
There's enough of them out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's never-ending content.
It was crazy. I was hearing about one that's apparently like horseradish and something else chips, and I'm like, who would eat that?
That's gross.
Who would eat that? That's disgusting.
Yeah, the worst one I've ever tried is the lemon, or what is it, lime-flavored Lay's. Yeah. Literally tasted like Fruit Loops. But like, think about the accuracy with which they can like formulate a candle to smell like chocolate cake or whatever. Like, that's terrifying.
Have you ever seen the one where it's like, I thought I sent you the video. It's like these candle makers are out of pocket, and it's not even like smells.
Oh, I saw one of them was like, what does it say? Like, what the effing F? Or like, I hate my kids. There's something random like that. Or like, thanks for being my unpaid therapist. Like, that's the scent.
Yeah, they've got sense and somehow it works.
For millennials, because millennials exist. Yeah. They love that kind of thing, yeah.
And somebody mentioned ketchup flavored chips. I loved the ketchup flavored Lay's that we had here.
Those were
and
good.
We had those, like, those were brought in from Canada. It's like the only thing good that's ever come from Canada other than Ryan Reynolds, apparently.
Yeah, the worst thing that I've ever tried was that Van Leeuwen, I think that was the brand, mac and cheese ice cream, or the pizza one.
That was disgusting.
Yeah.
Somebody said, like, there was like Montreal steak. That was the other one that I ate. And I ate it and I'm like,
Cheeto?
It was, this one's like a regular potato chip.
Oh,
and I'm like,
okay.
I have no idea what that means because I don't know what a Montreal steak is, but it was good.
Tasted like steak?
I don't have anything to compare it to. For all I know, it could be wrong. I don't know what a Montreal steak is.
Okay.
So it was good though. And the ketchup chips were good. So leave those alone.
It's the little things that we appreciate.
It is.
Life.
All right. Let's do some cue of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Let me shrink that down here. Here we go. First things first. Oh, these might be left over from last week. Nope. Here we go. From Olivia Claire, it says, here is more of Chloe for cue of the day. Everyone fat shame her, please, so she can lose weight.
Shame.
For shame, Kat.
Shame. Look at that pudgy face.
It literally is.
Yeah. I've never seen such a bewildered looking animal.
It's that's always its face.
She looks depressed.
She's not though. So here's the thing. She will come up to you and she will like rub against you, nuzzle you, and then when you try to touch her, get really offended that you try to touch her.
That's giving woman behavior.
It's very rude. Right?
We're gonna shame her now. Tisk tisk.
Everybody go ahead and fat shame Chloe. She needs it.
For shame.
You know what it is because I made the joke about how the only time Mocha has ever even kind of looked cute was while sleeping in the sink. I don't think Chloe would fit in the sink, so that's the problem.
Because she's too damn big.
She's too fat, so she needs to lose weight.
Oh, poor thing.
All right, let's do one more here.
Point and laugh.
Ellen Thompson blowing bubbles. The doggy is. Oh.
Dog discovers water.
Yep. I still think the greatest meme video of all time. You ever seen the one where like the golden retriever puts its hand on the other dog and then turns to the camera and smiles? It says "me anytime I touch dog." And it smiles at the camera. It's still the greatest meme of all time. All right. Thank you, Ellen. So that is two very cute ones. Guys, submit your cute of the days to me and the show at popculture_show and at Brett Dastovic on X and tag #PCC Pets. There was a couple that came in last week that I got to double check on that I might have forgot to put in the time, in the line, but we'll get back to it tomorrow. So let's go ahead now that we are 55 minutes into the show, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan's new Netflix special, Burn the Boats, has received mixed reception over the weekend. Some people really loved it, and some people really hated it. I think you can expect exactly the type of people who went into watching it wanting to hate it, wanting to get angry and offended. And we're already seeing tons of headlines about the edgy jokes that Joe Rogan included in his set. One of them being about vaccines, some more talk about trans people, gay people, pronouns. It's all the expected stuff. I mean, it doesn't sound like it's for me.
It's not.
I don't think I would personally enjoy this. Not because I necessarily disagree with the idea of making fun of any of those things, but I don't know. I think the anti-woke humor, it needs to be relatable.
The best stuff in the whole special was when he was talking about everything else. So he did a bit on evolution that was funny. He did a bit on
talked about dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs, that was funny.
Landing.
He got into aliens and stuff like that. Like the second half of the special was infinitely better than the first half, in my opinion.
One of his quotes from the special says, "There's a lot of people that I don't F with anymore. Before COVID, I would have told you that vaccines are the most important invention in human history. After COVID, I'm like, I don't think we even went to the moon. I think Pizzagate is real. I think there's direct energy weapons in Antarctica." And he also said that Michelle Obama has
an eggplant emoji.
And then he said, under her dress.
And then he said, I believe all those. He goes, I don't believe that Michelle Obama has an eggplant emoji. The other stuff I believe.
Right.
Here's the thing. There was a really funny post from Drama Alert that just proves to you what a ridiculous timeline we live in. It says, Joe Rogan joked that Michelle Obama had a eggplant emoji in a new Netflix special, but later said he was joking. Yes, he joked that he was joking in a comedy special.
Right. It's like they're acting like he issued an apology or something.
Correct.
Another one of the lines was like something about, "Did you just assume my gender?"
That was the worst.
Spare me.
No, but here's the thing. It was in the middle of a bit about him being high at an airport. That was actually kind of fun. Like him when he's talking about personal stories are actually fine, but it was like sandwiched between, that line was sandwiched between something else that was actually okay. Again, I think that the second half of the special was way better. It's like he got through all of the other stuff, which is basically just him. You kind of said he's critiquing internet life rather than real life.
Well, I mean, a good stand-up comedian can make jokes that are relatable to everyone in the room that you didn't think were common experiences, but he's commenting on bizarro world that you encounter on Twitter and not commenting on things that are actually commonly shared universal real life experiences.
So what he's talking about in that speech is actually what's funny about it, right?
Yeah.
So when he makes the joke about "Did you just assume my gender?" he's going through TSA pre and he's getting checked, and then he goes through the thing, and then they randomly select him to be patted down. And he's like, "Well, I have TSA pre. I thought that, absolved me of having to do such a thing." And then he talks about how he's getting groped by a dude while he's being talked to about UFC. And then about the guy like touching the back of his dick with the back of his hand. He goes, it's the worst way to find out if there's you're going to catch exactly 0 terrorists doing that. That part was actually, and he's talking about this, about how all this happened while he's high out of his mind. And that was fine. Like, it wasn't the funniest bit of it. Like, to me, the stuff about Neanderthals was infinitely funnier.
Yeah.
But it was like, that was fine because it's a real world experience, right? All of the stuff where he's talking about trans stuff and when he's talking about gay men, the gay men stuff is better than the trans stuff. But then he gets into talking about language and words that you can say and words that you can't say. That stuff worked.
So he said the bundle of sticks word.
He said the bundle of sticks word. He said the R word. He did not say the N word, but that was the point of the joke.
It's not for me.
Yeah.
I'm not, the target audience for this type of thing. But at the same time, the predictably weird and annoying people who get angry at him want to defend him.
Just calling what he did mocking proves to you that they don't actually want to engage with this honestly.
Like, they're being
It's not mocking,
mean-spirited
it's a comedy special.
Like, he didn't, at least I haven't seen any proof that he mocked anyone or denigrated anyone. But here are some angry tweets from people who are deranged Joe Rogan haters. One said, Rogan is a testament to the dangers of going down the red pill rabbit hole. Avoid at all costs. It rots your brain. Another one said,
it was honestly, it's very sad that that's their perspective because it was so safe. And honestly, I'm not going to lie, maybe I'm just misjudging it, but the audience didn't laugh.
It.
The audience didn't get as big of laughs out of the traditionally anti-woke
because it's all been done. Yes. That's the thing. It's all been done already by Dave Chappelle, by Ricky Gervais.
When he makes a joke about how a human being somewhere along the line probably was still having sex with monkeys, that got laughs.
And before Dave Chappelle and Ricky Gervais did it, YouTubers were doing it. Yes. YouTubers told those jokes, and then comedians told those jokes, and then other comedians told the same jokes. And that's why it's a little bit tiresome to me at this point, I'll admit. Another one said, Joe Rogan's sad, my attitude about gay men is the same as how I feel about mountain lions. I'm glad they exist, but I don't want to be surrounded by them. Why is it always straight guys who look like this who think every gay man wants to F them? Like, bitch, look at you. They also pointed out the sweat stains that were on his yellow shirt.
The sweat stain on the shirt was distracting. I thought it was a pattern at first.
Yeah. Another one said, you can agree with Joe Rogan's views, but saying his stand-up is good or funny crosses a red line for me.
Look, he also talked a lot about COVID and vaccines and stuff like that. And he took himself to task. He made fun of himself a bit. He's very good at poking fun at himself, which works in this context.
In response to that vaccine line, actually, this person said, Joe Rogan is what happens when midlife crisis meets short man syndrome on an IQ of 90, hopped up on steroids, ivermectin, and low T supplement cocktail. That was creative.
That just screams anger. Like, nothing. Here's the thing: when Joe Rogan is delivering his jokes, it comes off as jokes and it comes off as good natured, which is the point, right? All the reactions you're seeing are the opposite of that. They're very much. It's the same way when I talk about people saying this downfall should be studied. It's mean-spirited.
All of these people didn't want to laugh in the first place.
Exactly.
So they're not the target audience. It's fine. Just go about your day being bitter and angry. And everybody who wants to laugh at the jokes will be over here being normal. Another one made this about men in general. She said, if I was dating in 2024, this is the first question I would ask a man. Do you listen to Joe Rogan's podcast? You've got to eliminate the losers early, ladies. That's been a huge talking point. Like, you can't date a man who listens to JRE because he's a red flag.
It's
like one of the biggest podcasts in the world, right?
It's not even just women. It's like your lefty friends will use that as a way to filter you out at some point.
But isn't it the biggest podcast?
I think it got surpassed recently.
By what?
Tucker Carlson or something?
Is it?
It's probably still Joe Rogan. It probably fluctuates and goes back up.
He's still so like normie friendly.
And here's the thing. Like, a lot of the times, look, you go to when I listen to Joe Rogan, I love to hear him go off on rants about aliens. I do. But it's his ability to engage with people that are really, really smart. That's fun. He actually does a whole bit on this about how when he's talking to Elon, again, somebody pointed out that this special was supposed to come out a couple of years ago, which might explain my like weird like memory lapse. Like I kept hearing jokes in this that I could have swore I heard before. Like that I've heard him say before.
Because it just sounds like stuff that, you know, someone has absorbed from the internet or from Twitter, from years of doom scrolling and then repackaged as their own.
So, on top of that, like him talking about like when he talks to Elon Musk and he's like, I make it through like 10 minutes of the conversation, I zone out because he's so much freaking smarter than me that my brain just starts going to crazy places. And he tells this story about how his brain tells this story in his head about 4 people on a spaceship, and one of them pulls out a gun and shoots the other one. And he's talking about how like when he listens to Elon Musk, he eventually tunes out because he can't keep up with him, right? You listen to Joe Rogan because he does a good job on the show of engaging with extremely smart people and pulling fun conversations out of people who you might not normally get a conversation like that out of.
Yeah.
It gives Jordan Peterson or James Lindsay or somebody who tends to be more clinical the freedom to go and talk about something that isn't necessarily so dry. Like one of the reasons I like James Lindsay's show, like his like new discourses, is because a lot of it is dry and clinical, or at least it used to be, which is a lot more engaging to me when you have to talk about culture war stuff, because otherwise then it becomes about the outrage and not about the actual stuff that you're trying. Like if you have to learn about Hegelian dialectics, right? Like I don't need to know the modern progressive outrage version of it. I'd rather hear the actual information. But if you're talking to Joe Rogan, it can go in any different direction, and he's very good at getting people talking.
Yeah.
It's not about his opinions. It's about the opinions of the people that are on the show with him.
He makes people feel comfortable. Yeah. Which is an amazing quality to have no matter what you do for a living. But that's essential to make people laugh.
And good interviewers are, like, there's a reason why we were talking earlier about the dude from Hot Ones.
Yeah.
Like, a good interviewer.
Another bald icon.
Like, that's a dude who I would like to be able to ask him, like, what is your prep process like?
We would do a show called Cold Ones, where we interview the guy from Hot Ones.
And make him drink ices until he gets a brain freeze and then ask him questions.
Right, or we like crack open a cold one, you know.
But the point being that, a good interviewer, that's a skill set. It is. Like when he talked to, who is it? Taylor Sheridan, right? They went in all sorts of different directions, but he was able to pull it back to what Taylor Sheridan does for a living, which is making movies. Like the whole podcast started out talking about how Rotten Tomatoes always dunks on his stuff, and he never gets a fair shake from the critics. It ends up talking about Comanche Indians and communism and all of this other stuff that how you even get there in a 3-hour podcast is impressive.
Yeah.
So it's a skill set. So you don't watch Joe Rogan because of him necessarily. You engage with the people that he's talking about.
Yeah, most people don't know what Joe Rogan thinks about any particular social issue.
Unless it's aliens or DMT.
Right, unless it's those things. But he's not actually, in and of himself a controversial person. I guess it's just that he talks to too many controversial people. And that turns off a lot of NPCs who it wasn't intended for anyway.
Yep. And he is in general kind of a weird dude, and he loves to, he loves that. He loves talking about that stuff. And what I think is funny is like when it comes from a weird dude and you hear him talking about generally observable facts, meaning like the stuff that's going on with people in the wrong dressing room and stuff like that, things that are happening, and all he's doing is pointing out that it's happening. It's kind of a barometer as to where society is. And maybe they just don't like what they see reflected back at them, and it kind of puts them off that it's being shown to them by a dude who's so out there.
Yeah, we're going to call it Roganite normality. You've heard of Swiftian normality, but this is Roganite normality. He kind of is a barometer. He is a good way of measuring like where the normie sensibility is at.
Again, these jokes that they're criticizing here make up just a portion of an hour long special. So
still wait for him to interview Gerard Way.
There you go.
His beloved cousin.
All right, let's go to Super Chats.
Andrew Jacobs said, "Hi, Mary and Brett. Here's a white pill. Happy birthday to my wife of 20 years, Christy Jacobs. I sincerely hope that y'all have lifelong marriages. That's so sweet.
Happy birthday and congratulations on 20 years.
Yeah, happy birthday to Christy.
That's a big deal.
Shane H. Wilder said, Happy Manic Monday, Brett and Mary. The PCC silent film Spill the Illuminati sorry, dropped Saturday. Who knew that Cashman and Mattis were a comedic duo?
I didn't personally think that Friday's show went off the rails as much as they said it did.
Who said it did?
People were saying like it went off the rails almost immediately. I thought it stayed like the big milestone episodes go off the rails instantly. Okay, I understand that.
The episode with Aiden and Ian was a little bit off the rails, but that's to be expected.
I mean, we segmented stuff that was under 15 minutes that episode. That's hard to do.
Friday was fun, though. Yeah. Who cares whether it went off the rails or not?
Let's do one more.
Shane H. Wilder said Trump dancing to YMCA on a kick stream is a vibe.
Well, we're going to talk about that tomorrow.
It's a whole mood.
I was like, oh, man, dude.
Like, I liked it, but someone else just, made it cringe for me.
When he said that, I thought maybe he should have said vibe.
You should never say that something is a whole mood in 2024. Never.
And you were kind of, we're going to talk about Aiden Ross and Trump tomorrow. But you learned what YMCA stands for.
What is it? Young Men's Christian Association?
Sounds right. Yeah.
I already forgot.
Was it so was the Village People song propaganda?
Yeah, I was like, does the government own the YMCA? Like, what's the prerogative here? Okay, so it's the Young Men's Christian Associations. But it was started in London.
Okay.
So it's technically not American.
It's like the one thing we brought over from them and kept?
Yeah.
Okay.
The one thing of many that we have improved from them.
All right. Well, okay. we'll wait. We're going to talk more about Aiden Ross and Trump tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Time to talk about what's going on with Morgan Wallen.
Yeah, it looks like the Swifties are having a mental breakdown once again. I can't even feign surprise. And this time it is because Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift's mans, is uncanceling Morgan Wallen once and for all. Morgan Wallen made a stop for a concert in Kansas City at I believe it's the Arrowhead Stadium, right? The big stadium in Kansas City. And he did this walkout on camera with Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. And it was a big deal, and everyone was posting it saying, we're so back. Morgan Wallen is not canceled anymore because he has the official approval of these people. And he was also wearing a number 7 jersey, which led a lot of people to believe that he was repping Harrison Butker.
That was not true.
One of the members, one of the players on the Kansas City Chiefs. But that is not true. It was a custom jersey with his own last name on it, not Butker.
He just appropriated somebody's number. He appropriated
it. But that in and of itself was enough to make people angry because Harrison Butker is even more canceled than Morgan Wallen is.
Yep.
But yeah, most of these comments I saw were saying that this is gross and distasteful and that Taylor Swift should leave Travis Kelce for even associating vaguely with Morgan Wallen for a work appearance. This is basically his job, right?
Yeah.
He's promoting himself and his team, and Morgan Wallen is using this to promote himself and his music.
Yep.
It's a work thing.
All of it organized
by professional collaboration.
It's why I always laugh. It's remember, because I always dunk on when celebrities have to act like friends. I'm like, you know that publicist A, Sherry the publicist called Melissa the publicist, who called Mike the agent, who called Donald the agent, and they set all this up through emails and
they coordinated on the jersey that Morgan Wallen was going to wear.
Somebody had to go make that.
And the fact that Travis Kelce was going to wear a shirt that says "We're beer for you."
Yeah. Everything's fake.
Everything's planned. But it was supposed to be just a nice, normal moment.
Takes a lot of money, time, and planning to make a nice little moment.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and we appreciate that. But here were some of the comments. One said, WTF, walking around with a known racist is a weird choice.
Again, he's apologized for his crime.
So what? He said the N-word?
He got caught on a Ring camera saying the N-word with a friend in like 2015 or something.
I think it was in like 2021 that it came out.
Okay.
And
well, it was a long time
Ring
ago.
didn't exist back in 2015.
Okay.
So he was caught saying the N-word in a conversation that he thought was private.
Yes.
And it was leaked to the public.
That was another thing Joe Rogan talked about, how many times he said that word, because there's like whole clips of him saying, like supercuts of him saying the N-word and saying like, he's like, look, if I'm quoting a Richard Pryor bit, I'm not gonna say the N-word, I'm gonna say the word.
Yeah, and I don't even think the context that Morgan Wallen said it was malicious, if I recall correctly.
No, I think he was referring to somebody as a friend in that colloquial way.
Right, he was basically saying homies.
Yes.
Like, he might as well have just said homies.
Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong on that.
As far as I remember, that it wasn't like some horrible video where you see him like, menacing somebody, some like black person and calling them the N-word. Like, that's not...
coming in from like a night out drinking or something like that.
Right. And the fact that he was thrown under the bus and canceled for that in the first place is disgusting. Mm-hmm. But, it's been years at this point.
And he even made the mistake of apologizing.
Successful.
He is kind of proof that money talks.
Yeah.
And that they'll just push through it if enough. Like, what they'll bank on is that most people haven't heard about it because most people aren't, sitting on TMZ or
most
reading.
People aren't chronically online Stan accounts like these people. Another one said, Morgan Wallen, why? This is so disappointing. Another one who has a Taylor Swift profile picture said, oh, another racist friend. What a surprise. And I actually just saw Taylor Swift getting hate. People assuming that Taylor Swift is a Trump supporter because she went on a double date with a couple of Travis's friends who happened to be publicly right-wing, publicly Trump supporters. And you're just not allowed to be friends with Trump supporters or Republicans. You're not allowed to associate with anyone who politically disagrees with you or falls on the other side of the aisle, or else you're just as bad as them. Well, so that's the rule being applied here.
This is literally what I was talking about. So I was like it was like Sabrina Carpenter was at like Charlie XCX's birthday, and I am not chronically online enough, nor am I a girl, so I had no idea what that meant, why that was supposedly a problem. But apparently Swifties and Charlie XCX fans are at war.
Well, I only know that Charlie XCX wrote a song about Taylor Swift.
Read this headline.
Wait, what is it? Why are Swifties and Charlie XCX fans at war? I blame Big Tech. What the fuck? What does that even mean?
This article's over a month old. It says, being a geriatric millennial means I was born too late to take advantage of cheap house prices and oh my God, this person's
Shut up! Wait, is this about this song, Sympathy is a Knife?
I'm not reading this article because she started out by whining. Woe is me sucks, guys, and you suck, lady, whoever wrote that article.
I experienced the 2008 recession after I graduated college with an English degree.
My problem was that I was 3 years old when the housing market crashed. I'm a whiny little bitch. I'm sorry. I'm gonna need some time to recover from that. Everything is so bad for me. I'm a millennial.
It's like, this is the biggest problem you have to worry about, is that like Travis Kelce ordered a Starbucks the other day and he doesn't know that's on the boycott list. Yeah. Like, you are mentally ill. We should bring loony bins back because you belong in one. Another one said, every time I'm coming around to Travis Kelce, he ruins it. This is just so bad. As if anyone was asking you about your opinion on Taylor Swift, the biggest pop star on the planet's boyfriend. As if anyone was asking you for your approval. What is this like overinflated sense of global importance that they're placing on?
Well, because they believe that they're the ones that made her who she is. That
perhaps
her fan base is the ones that they have ownership over.
This is literally what happened with her relationship to Maddie Healy, and they hated on her for that too because he's problematic.
Do you remember that?
Then she wrote a hate song on her own fans.
Do you remember the post about like Taylor Swift fans forming a union? Remember when we talked about that?
Wait, was it about?
It was like the satire. At least I assumed it was satire. The thing about Swift fans unionizing.
No, they were like gonna go on strike.
They wanted owners. They want to have a say in who she dates.
Yes.
and her private life.
Yeah, they want to cast a vote.
Because even if that was satire, there's at least a couple of people in the world that actually believe that because they're mentally ill.
Mm-hmm. Another one with a Taylor Swift profile picture said, "You are literally 2 events away from being at a Trump rally." So
it's like 6 degrees of Kevin
How many
Bacon.
degrees of separation are there between the Morgan Wallen concert and the Trump rally? I'm just trying to do the math here.
I mean, I think Morgan Wallen's fan base is mostly female, so it's probably farther than you think.
Oh, they are?
I mean, I assume so.
I mean, it's country music, so I just assumed it was like a little bit more universal than that.
Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. I imagine it's women that like Morgan Wallen.
Perhaps. Another one said, anyone who says...
I used like a, so there's like this producer named Sonic Boom that does like cuts where he cuts together like rap and country songs, and I did one of like Polo G and Morgan Wallen for like a section I made recently.
Yeah. Another one said, being friendly with a man who said the N-word is a choice, definitely. Racist and bad music. Please pick a struggle. He's one of the most successful artists in the world.
Definitely one of the most successful to ever come out of like one of those reality singing shows.
Yeah. Wait, what was it again? Which one was it? The Voice?
Yeah.
Or I thought it was like X Factor.
No, I think it was The Voice.
Maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, like I just don't think anyone knows or cares about.
I just laugh because this is nobody's.
Past.
This guy is not your enemy. Like in any timeline.
Yeah, speaking of which, we, just last week talked about this, terror attack on a bunch of Taylor Swift's young fans.
The guy who committed this is your enemy.
But now there had to be a huge delay on one of Morgan Wallen's concerts because of a terrorist threat that was made at Kansas City's Arrowhead Stadium.
Yep.
He had a 45-minute delay to his set because of it, but they arrested the man who was going to target the event. They said it was 2 individuals who were members of the Kansas City Chiefs organization. According to court records, the source of the threat was a post on X from an account called Gooey Bag.
Well, when Gooey Bag says something, you listen.
And they made these threats at the concert, which read, Mr. Redacted at Arrowhead with the wife. If he brings out redacted or redacted, I'll take the effing shot. The report notes that the 2 intended victims were present at the stadium at the time the message was posted. The concert was delayed until the account's user, Aaron Brown, was identified through information shared with law enforcement by X.
Ooh, X
in
got
real
involved.
time.
Okay.
It's giving trap.
That's it is. And
but I thought I would mention because this actually reminded me, the NFL announced recently that they're going to start implementing facial recognition technology at all NFL games. They're using facial recognition software so that they can verify the identity of literally every spectator in the stadium. And I'm sure it will be applied to situations like this as well.
Yep.
Kind of worrying because, obviously we don't want anyone to get hurt and we want to prevent atrocities from happening, but that's always the justification that they use to invade your privacy.
Once the social credit score is fully implemented, then you will just be, look, you want to go watch an NFL game? Well, you said some stuff on the internet that we don't like, so you were being denied entry. I just saw this thing from 2022 where it was like if you had a printer from HP and you had like a subscription service to like have their like cartridges sent to you over and over again, and if like your card expired or you didn't re-up your contract, they like manually disabled your printer.
That's so creepy.
Yeah. They like remotely disabled your printer.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, before you know it, they're going to be remotely disabling your fridge and your central heating system and your air conditioning and locks on your doors and all sorts of things. So get excited.
Yep.
And your electric car.
But yeah,
that's connected to the internet.
So all of this is it's absolutely ridiculous. But her fans are, we
already knew that. Her fans are ...
crazy.
Yes.
All right.
Corey Anderson said, I love it when Mary cusses. Okay. Noted. Drewish AF said, okay, this is weird. Should I read it?
I can't see it.
He said, give me a let's go, please, daddy, and hi, Mary. I think he was calling you that. So that's kind of weird.
Let's go.
And you got what you wanted. Shane H. Wilder said, is trap good as devil? I think that's what you meant. It's not. I wouldn't say it's even close, but it's definitely, it's entertaining for what it is.
Did we miss that 20?
Oh, do you mean the one from I See All here? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see that at all. He said episode 666 of PCC is in the bag. Congratulations. Nobody burst into flames. Nobody was speaking in tongues. Mary didn't have to douse your asses with holy water, and no one got pregnant. It was a good show. Yes, all crises averted, except for crisis parties.
Let's do one more.
Left-handed Link Gaming said, I'm in my sarcasm maxing era.
All right, then. Well, that's good. we like that.
Good for you.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about the absolute horror that is Beast Games.
Yes. So last week, we were talking about the rumors surrounding Mr. Beast's new Amazon game show, The Beast Games. And now over a dozen contestants for Beast Games have come forward and spoken to the New York Times about their horrific experience, alleging hellish conditions on set. They were denied food, allegedly, water, medical care, carried out on stretchers, bleeding, bruising, all sorts of things, seizures. I was hearing allegations out the wazoo. I don't know if there is, any proof so far other than what they've told us. I don't trust journalists. I don't trust TikTokers. So I guess it remains to be seen whether any of this is true. But they got interviews with several contestants who remained anonymous because of the NDAs that they're under. But they had been asked if they would be willing to be buried alive. They were asked if they were willing to travel to outer space before they agreed to do this. One recalled if she was able to swim to shore if thrown overboard from a boat. And one of the lines in their contract reads, I understand that such activities may cause me death, illness, or serious bodily injury, including, but not limited to, exhaustion, dehydration, overexertion, burns, and heat stroke. That seems like pretty normal contract language to me, but they were being a little bit dramatic about it.
In general, Mr. Beast is getting some pushback right now. We were talking about the disabled, downvote button, which was why you just heard that sound right there. I had to refresh it to see what the numbers were at for his most recent video, which is sitting at 1.9 million downvotes to 3.7 million upvotes.
See, there's got to be something to it because I saw people reporting that it was getting a huge amount of dislikes. And then they said, no, that's not true because the extension on your browser that you use to view the dislikes is only reflective of the dislikes from other people who have the same browser extension.
Nobody has ever called into question the ability of the disabled of that browser extension to work until now.
Yeah, it's weird. And then I saw people looking through the comments and there were a lot of positive ones that looked like they were written by bots.
Okay. I mean, most of it looked positive to me. It seemed like all the stuff that I was reading was people focusing on the show itself.
Wait, what is the title of this?
It's the Survive 100 Days in a Nuclear Bunker, win 500,000.
This is what he does. So, of course, when he gets a deal with Amazon to make an entire show out of it, they're going to ramp it up many levels. Like, they're gonna have to raise the stakes. Over a dozen people who participated in the first installment of Beast Games said that they had not received adequate food or medical care and that some competitors had suffered injuries from physical challenges. We signed up for the show and we didn't sign up for not being fed, watered, or treated like human beings, said one contestant. A spokesperson for Mr. Beast said the shoot was unfortunately complicated by the CrowdStrike incident, extreme weather, and other unexpected logistical and communications issues. I don't know how CrowdStrike
I love the
would have anything to do with
He just
it.
like picks on a map of what's gone on in the world today and finds whatever he can blame for what's going on.
CrowdStrike.
Yeah.
Blame them. They added that Mr. Beast has started a formal review and taken steps to ensure that we learn from this experience.
Well, as we know that most people, as the CIA does every couple of years, they've investigated themselves and they'll have found that they did nothing wrong.
The worst thing about this really is I think they just weren't prepared. It sounds disorganized and like they didn't do proper planning, maybe didn't do great vetting for the production staff. When the contestants showed up, there were 2,000 players at the stadium in Vegas instead of the advertised 1,000, but it turns out that was just a whole audition process.
So it was going to be whittled down to 1,000. Okay.
So some of the contestants said they needed the cash.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Some of the contestants said they needed the cash to pay for things like student loans and medical debt.
Again, there it is, more millennials.
Yeah, feeling bad for themselves. After learning that they would be competing against twice as many people, some said they felt they had been misled about their odds of winning.
I mean, maybe you're just full of hubris and thought that you were gonna.
It's so funny how there's one of the dollar bills is just directly in our line of sight.
Yep.
Several contestants also said they had not been warned about how little they would be given to eat and how infrequently. They described going long stretches without being fed by production. One said she had gone over 20 hours.
A whole 20 hours without eating.
Is that supposed to sound like a long time?
I guess all of the fasters are like, look, I do that all the time.
That's literally my daily life. 24 hours or more.
Without eating?
I eat once a day. So I don't know if 20 hours was supposed to sound like a long time. At night, like I just have dinner.
Okay.
But yeah, she's trying to make 20 hours sound like she was starved for 3 days straight. Both during the games and while they were in Las Vegas before and after filming. Contestants expected the production to provide them with meals for the duration of their time in Nevada.
If you put a show together featuring mostly millennials, you're going to get mostly woe is me responses.
True.
Right?
Well, they had a huge age range, actually. They had Gen Z to senior citizens in their 80s.
Well, I bet the people complaining are millennials.
Yes, probably.
Millennials are the woe is me generation.
Most likely. I mean, everyone I've seen complain so far is a millennial. Yep. One meal described by contestants included a tiny portion of cold oatmeal, one hard-boiled egg, and a few pieces of raw vegetables.
What he should be doing is he should just start Scared Straight again so he can do this legally.
Yeah, that would be great. Meals throughout the games were small and sporadic, contestants said. It was difficult to keep track of time without watches or phones, but contestants estimated they had been fed twice a day, once in the early morning and again in the afternoon or evening. And a spokesperson for Mr. Beast said they were offered 3 meals a day. They're saying that's not true. On a few occasions, the production staff passed around Feastables chocolate bars.
Well, that was okay. So what it probably was, maybe they were fed in the morning and at night, and in the afternoon they're like, "Here, have a Feastable."
The staff passed around Feastables chocolate bars, a brand created by Mr. Beast, and filmed some people eating and praising the candy for their advertising campaigns. Of course. Hungry, bruised, and bleeding. Mr. Beast presided over the field as the first scenes of the competition were filmed. Contestants saw him step out of a shrine-like structure.
Okay, like it's so hyperbolic that it borders on creative writing projects, which automatically makes me suspicious.
I mean, I believe it's a big production that they put a lot of work into. So he stepped out of a shrine-like structure onto a platform above $5 million in cash as they were instructed to cheer. We are all just looking up at the sky, screaming at him like a god, one contestant said.
Again, that's the type of hyperbole I'm talking about.
At the same time, a psychologist introduced himself to the competitors, explaining that health and safety were priorities on set. And when they tried to reach the psychologist, he declined to comment.
One of the whole things Joe Rogan got into, he's like, I used to host Fear Factor, which was taken off the air because we made like regular people drink donkey cum. That's literally, he's like they had buckets of donkey semen. So, you know, if I'm supposed to think that the people back then who were forced to drink donkey jizz for money got through it without their lives being completely ruined, then I'm sure you guys are fine.
Yeah. When you put it like that, you know, you put it into perspective, people are soft these days.
I mean, that's not the real story here. The real story is this is being used to shift the narrative away from the Ava Chris Tyson stuff.
No, that's totally true.
Which is the actually damning stuff that hurts Mr. Beast.
That's 100% true, and we called it out. No one is listening. But I still am no less annoyed at these crybabies for complaining about an entirely voluntary thing that they participated in. And it, you know, being... you know, like, I wasn't fed free meals. You were there of your own accord. You could leave anytime you wanted to. Several contestants said that they sought out production staff for assistance with medical care, food, and hygiene issues. The staff were often not helpful and appeared disorganized. Some staff members yelled and cursed at the contestants.
Like, I buy that, like, trying to do something of this scale means that they just didn't have any experience doing it, so
especially if it's twice as many people as they thought it would be. Yeah. Despite reassurance that contestants' medications would be distributed to them when needed, contestants said they had not received their medication on time, including one who needed insulin.
I would have just
instead receiving it hours or even days after their scheduled times.
Wouldn't the best thing to do, and it's not to be rude, but to just not, if you have requirements, I'm sorry, we can't.
If you have medical issues or if you have a medication that like could threaten your life if you don't have it on time.
We just can't have you on the show. Sorry.
Like, just go. Like, you shouldn't even be voluntarily part of this. You shouldn't be part of the casting call.
I mean, it's literally just too risky for the show, right?
Yeah.
Like limit your liability and tell them no.
Well, they already signed off on, you know, no liability. So, and one other contestant said she was denied the food she required to take her medication with, and she was told by staff members she didn't actually need to eat. After asking repeatedly, she was given half a banana.
I like the idea that they just cut it in front of her and give her half.
This is the really weird part. You were supposed to give production staff your underwear.
What?
Like your clean underwear, you're supposed to give them your clean underwear so they could distribute it to you on a daily basis.
Like bring it from home, like a bunch of them,
like in a Ziploc bag. You needed enough underwear to last you for the whole 5 days of challenges, and you had to have it distributed to you by the production staff. So yes, they were instructed to supply the staff with a Ziploc bag containing 5 days worth of their undergarments. Several contestants said they waited hours or even days to receive their clean underwear. One woman said that when she and a group of contestants who were menstruating asked staff about getting their underwear more quickly, she had been told it was not a medical emergency, and she recalled a nearby member of staff laughing at them. That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. Yeah. More of people complaining about gender discrimination because all of the guys teamed up with each other because they perform better at the physical challenges. Yep. That's lame. But yeah, it just, you know, when you read this part, this is where it deflates your entire argument.
Okay.
While contestants were free to leave the competition at any time, many stayed despite the conditions, hoping to win $5 million.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point.
There you go. Yeah. That's just embarrassing for you.
It's like, you offered me too good of a prize that I had to voluntarily harm myself.
Right? Like, I risked death for $5 million of Mr. Beast's money. Just, if you really were going through a medical emergency, if you really were miserable, and according to one woman, considering sewer slide over this, you were free to leave. I do not feel bad for these people.
I mean, it's like when we talk about bullying on the internet. Just close the computer.
This man specializes in physically and psychologically torturing people for entertainment value. You knew exactly what you were getting into. If you didn't have what it takes, you shouldn't have showed up in the first place, or you should have left the minute you found out that you didn't have what it takes. But, you know, they made it through this process. There are still 1,000 remaining contestants who are scheduled to resume filming this month in Canada, actually. And they actually found screenshots from a group chat provided to the New York Times. Some of those remaining contestants appear unbothered by their experience. They had signed a contract that they were willing to die for this.
Well, $5 million is a lot of money that the government's going to take more than half of.
They're just hoping to pay off their student loans.
That's all they, by the time the government's taken their half, that's about all they will be able to pay off is their student loans.
And if you can't pay off your student loans after this, you'll have a great story to tell. So
it's just, I just feel like in previous generations, this would never, maybe this is true though, right? Maybe there's all sorts of, there was like a documentary about, like American Gladiators, about how crazy it was to work on that show back in the day. Mm-hmm. Maybe this is just this generation's version of that.
This generation can't handle being challenged in any way, shape, or form. Apparently.
Even for $5 million.
Even for $5 million. Like, would you have expected this to be a positive experience? And like, would you have expected this to be easy?
That, like, when they say, like, I thought my chances of winning were higher. I thought I was told that I was going to have a better chance of winning. What does that even mean? You should always assume that winning $5 million isn't going to be easy.
Right. Like, why would it be easy? Like, I don't know. This just, I can't understand the mindset people go into this thinking that they're going to be, like, playing with, like, do you think that this is going to be child's play?
Yeah.
Like, it's, if you've been familiar with any of Mr. Beast's content, you would be aware already that he puts people through sleep deprivation and dehydration and, you know, heat exhaustion and psychological torture by, like, isolation chambers and all sorts of stuff like this. He paid a guy to, like, live in a grocery store for a month or whatever. Like, this is what he does.
I bet you his Wikipedia is just all like reading about the Stanford prison experiments. And,
right.
Yeah.
Like, we need to know his search history, how he gets inspiration for all of these videos. But yeah, this is just, I'm sorry. I thought that there was going to be proof at some point. I'm still not seeing it. If I had to take a guess, it's, you know, probably incompetence.
Even if all of it's true, you are free to leave at any time.
Yes.
And all of this is just one large distraction to get your attention away from the one that is actually damning for his company, which is the behavior of Ava Chris Tyson and all of the things involving that Discord and all of the information that came out about that. But this is,
and if you haven't learned about that yet, you should definitely go pursue that information.
But Mr. Beast running a poorly run competition will not end anyone's career.
Absolutely not. I think we've actually been getting several comments from somebody who claims that they were one of the contestants who left. And I forget the username, the screen name or whatever, but, you know, I'm not saying I don't believe your experience, but what I'm saying is it's hard for me to feel sympathy for you as you're a grown adult who chose to go through this and chose to stay there while you were allegedly seeing people having near-death experiences and being tortured and abused yourself. I don't really feel sympathy for you if you were choosing to stay in that situation, you know?
And again, I don't think even if the story breaks and there's some big expose on it, I don't think it stops him a bit.
No.
It doesn't slow his career at all.
No, in fact, it only helps people. It only draws more attention to the show.
It brings allure to what he's making. Then the average person who doesn't really care if a bunch of people had a bad experience on the show go, oh, wow, that sounds crazy. I better tune in.
Like that stupid piece that was written about like people who felt like they were abused or tortured on the set of Love is Blind on Netflix.
Yeah.
Like saying that, you know, we were fed too much alcohol and we weren't given enough food. I'm like, that sounds like a pleasant vacation you had. that you could have left at any point during the process, that you were literally getting plied with free alcohol and a free hotel room for as long as you wanted to goof off on camera and go on dates through a screen. And then why are we supposed to feel bad for you?
And then after that, we saw all of the reality stars talking about unionizing.
Unionize these losers. I can't deal with these people.
I can't with these people.
Yeah, the contestants on this show are going to join the reality star actors union.
The Mr. Beast union.
I can't.
Union beasting. All right, let's go to Super Chats.
Drewish AF said, I was engaged to Jamie Lee Curtis's second cousin.
Oh, you don't say.
Okay. Did you ever meet Jamie Lee Curtis?
Did she have that poster up on the wall?
Yeah, that weird photo of a naked child in her office. Corey Anderson said, when will they make a Dark Souls movie? That sounds like a disaster waiting to happen.
No, they're gonna. My guess would be they'll focus on stories like The Last of Us that have a lot of built-in, like cinematic storytelling built into the gameplay,
so that you don't have to make anything up yourself.
Yeah, they don't have to actually create anything. Which would, honestly, which is.
Do you want to see the same thing all over again, but with ugly people?
But we talk about
The Last of Us TV show.
We talk about why can't they adapt anything correctly? They screw it up. They still screw it up. Mm-hmm. They still manage to screw it up. It's not like they adapt shot for shot. If they did that, people would be less pissed.
Yes, but either way, they're doing it because they're being lazy. And if the theory is you're using the IP of the game to get the audience who likes the game.
And the problem they had and the big issues that they had with The Last of Us was episode 3 and 7, which were large departures from the actual storytelling.
Especially 3.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't have the patience
My
for
question is, when will they make a Metal Gear Solid movie?
Who knows? I mean, it's definitely all going to be remade or something. Mm. Like, everything is going to be bought up at a certain point. You can only remake so many things.
They can just keep doing it. Honestly, I feel like it could go on forever. It really feels that way to me. Maybe that's my doomer take.
Was Vince Vaughn just joking about this, or was there actually a Battleship movie?
There was a Battleship movie. Oh yeah, 2012, I think.
I can't.
I think I made it through.
I
think I got it through dubious means back in the day, and I think I made it through 10 minutes of it.
Ironic, given that called Battleship.
I love bad movies, but that one I couldn't. Maybe it was one of those bad.
Was
movies.
It a comedy movie?
No, I don't think so. I think it was just supposed to be like a typical dramatic action movie just taking place. I made it through about 10 minutes of it, but maybe it's one of those movies that you needed to see in the theaters, where even though it's bad, at least it's the spectacle of being on the big screen.
16-bit mascot said, I enjoy your show. Thanks, guys, for covering all this craziness. You're welcome.
Thank you.
And thank you. Kid Galagos said, Mark Wahlberg played a pretty decent villain a long time ago in a movie called Fear. It might be worth a watch.
I haven't seen it. I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
I haven't seen that either. Surinko Productions said, the point of the Last of Us series is to make it lame and gay.
Yeah.
They're doing a pretty good job of it then. Omega Red fan said Ben Affleck as Terry Bollea?
Yep.
Bollea? Hulk's real name, Sweet. Is he going to go by Terry in the movie?
I mean, the Hulkster...
What do his friends
call
him?
Hulkster never leaves character. He's always Hulk Hogan. He's never Terry Bollea. He's always Hulk Hogan.
But does anyone call him Terry?
I highly doubt it. I bet you everybody calls him
He's like
Hulk.
forsaken that name.
I bet you everybody calls him the Hulk.
Red Snow said, hi gang, set up a date for Friday. Any ideas on something fun to do?
That would depend like where you are.
Where you are, who this person is.
Some place where you can some place where you can both talk freely and have conversation. That's why movies tend to be a bad first date idea. Though I do like the idea that the idea of going to a movie on a first date isn't bad as long as you plan to go out to eat afterwards.
It needs to be after.
You can talk about the movie and then gauge, your response to how they react to the film.
Right. If you go to dinner before the movie, like, what are you even doing?
Yes, doesn't make any sense.
That's ridiculous. But maybe not a movie. No. People overcomplicate this. Is it a first date? I can't tell if it's a first date or if it's like a second, third.
What is like the best you've ever heard of as like a first date idea?
It doesn't need to be like it. Okay, it depends on if you know this person already or if you're meeting them for the first time from like a dating app, right?
Yep.
If you're meeting someone for the first time in person, it better be something with an easy escape route. It needs to be, you know, short.
Oh, take her to an escape room.
You get like
take her to an escape room, and when the door locks, be like, hey, now I've got you.
The door locks, and you're like, Doy, I don't know how to do this. No, but if you're good at those, it would be a good way to like showcase your problem solving skills, and she'll really find that attractive. But like if it's a first date with someone you already know, that changes things a lot. So I feel like, you know, going to like dinner is not that big of a commitment. If you already know the person, you already know you're interested in them. This is kind of why dating apps suck. Because it kind of sets you up for a bunch of awkward situations you don't want to be in. Hope that was helpful. Corey Anderson said, who would play Hulk Hogan on a biopic? I say Ross Lynch. Andre the Giant could be Joe Manganiello.
Joe Manganiello is not big enough to be
Brad
Andre
Garrett. Hogan is 6'7". He's hard to cast.
Who is? I don't know how many.
Is he really 6'7"?
I mean, that's what the internet says, and wrestlers are on the tall side.
Crazy.
So yeah, I mean, it's Joe Manganiello.
Baron Trump.
Yeah, like who the hell could play the? I mean, really, I mean, Andre the Giant would have been played by Paul White, the wrestler, The Big Show.
Let me see. How tall is Ross Lynch? I only know that he played Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah.
Also, like, what's the biopic of Hulk Hogan? Like, what happened? Give me the rundown. What's his origin story?
Wait, is it about him as originally Hulk Hogan, or
did he have like a super normal job before this?
Hollywood Hulk Hogan? What is it?
I don't know. Did he ever have a normal job?
I have no idea. I don't know his biography.
Corey Anderson said, Mary, you should ask Tim for a wardrobe budget. I'm sure that would go over well. Sorenko Productions said, how does discount DJ Khaled have a golden play button for posting Minion Jesus, but YouTube still hasn't given PCC their 100K plaque?
I asked that question earlier because I saw that Tony Merkel got his. We are clearly in YouTube's bad graces right now.
Yeah, I don't know what their deal is.
The hell's up with that, YouTube?
I think they just have it out for us.
I agree.
Stefan Buttle said, new channel, Pop Culture Cuisine.
Let's do it.
Yeah, why not? Red Snow said, tiger sauce chips, let's go.
I don't even know what that is.
I don't either. 16-bit Mascot said, cheers to you guys and chat. Hail on this Monday.
And thank you.
Cheers.
And cheers to you as well.
Shane H. Wilder said, worst potato chip, birthday cake potato chips. Why does that exist?
That sounds awful.
That's disgusting. Corey Anderson said, Monterey Jack Doritos. I miss those. Early 90s. That sounds good. He also said, are you two the black sheep of the Timcast media?
Yes.
Well, you know, we are here all by our lonesome, so I would assume so. Tacty Platty said, Brett, enough of your Star Trek actor ignorance. Best things out of Canada are William Shatner, Kirk, and James, is it Doohan? Scotty? R.I.P. Scotty? I don't know if I said that right. Sorry.
I never cared about Star Trek. There are plenty of great actors that came from Canada. I was obviously kidding about Ryan Reynolds. So I do like Ryan Reynolds.
So he's Canadian?
Yes.
Okay. You never know these days.
I saw like a thing the other day of like Stephen Amell was at the Olympics. Like they were playing the Canadian national anthem and he was like tearing up. And I was like, I forget that other people.
When is it? Oh, Canada?
I guess.
Does it start like that? I don't know how it goes. Corey Anderson said there are 1,366 people watching. You only have 23 likes. What the heck is going on? If you're watching, hit the like button. Let's go.
Hit the like button, guys. There's still over 1,100 people watching, and there's 424 likes. We did get over 666 on episode 666, though, so that was good.
Yeah, I was worried they were going to just try to keep it there.
Yep. Nope. It moved on.
James Marone said, I'm probably one of your few black subscribers, but I just want to say that I've given you guys the N pass. It doesn't expire.
Look, I already have my white privilege card that I got from the Hodge twins, so you know I'm good. I'm good. No, I gave that card to my brother actually.
I appreciate the gesture, but I didn't need a pass.
See, the problem is like the pass isn't accepted at all retailers, and that can be a problem.
Right. Yeah. Never seems to work on the airlines. Stefan Buttle said, "Black man here, and pass approved."
Look, even too, I don't think reaching critical mass is going to actually do anything there. But thank you guys.
But why is it today that we earned it?
Because I mentioned Joe Rogan and him talking about the N-word.
Maybe
it was really because he's talking about like why he'll say the R word but not the N-word. And again, when he said that joke, I could have swore that I heard that before. Like I was like, I had to go back and exit the special and go back and double check. I'm like, because I've never watched, like I didn't watch his other one, like the other two that he had on Netflix, but I thought maybe I read it somewhere.
We're gonna get a super chat next. It says like, I'm probably your only Down syndrome subscriber, but I'm giving you the R word pass.
Thank you.
Thanks. We appreciate it. Shane H. Wilder said, headline, comedian tells joke, people offended.
Yep.
It happens far too often.
Again, you shouldn't be offended by those jokes. You should be offended like the did you just assume my gender one should probably be like
that offends me because it underestimates me.
Yeah, exactly.
When I hear a joke that's that predictable, I'm like, okay, so you think I'm an idiot, right? Gravel said, GM. It's not the morning for us.
But
I don't know where you live, but I guess good morning. Corey Anderson said, JRE is just the conversations you have when you are blazing with your homies. I have never gotten why people have such an issue with him. Same goes with conspiracy theorists. It's just stoner talk.
Because they like to label everything that's said these days as some form of misinformation, which then gets to be used as a cudgel, a weapon against people who disagree with them.
Yeah.
For instance, like everything that was talked about COVID being labeled as a conspiracy theory, which later came out to hold a certain amount of validity. You know, the point is they get to discredit what you said early on, and by the time it's proven correct, if you are correct, everyone's moved on, and you're 20,000 outrages ago and 20,000 world events ago.
Yeah,
it's one of the reasons why it pays to learn, and I'm still learning every day to just not get upset by world events in the same way, because look, you're 30,000 catastrophes ago, and if you live your life constantly just collecting them, you're just going to be upset and outraged and worried all the time. And it is important to be aware of what's going on in the world. It's important to be knowledgeable about things to the point that you can do your job, be informed about current events, but at a certain point, you're just terminally online. And, you know, what's going on in the genocide, you know, the femicide going on in the Congo, however sad that may be, don't got nothing to do with me. And it's not going to affect my way of life. I'm sorry.
Well, you're also not going to be able to affect it
change
in any way. Ethan Miller said there was a YWCA, but it failed hard.
Women don't like to exercise.
Yeah, guess not. Corey Anderson said Phil should do a side project with Ian. It can be called Phil and Ian. They could play psychedelic folk music. If I had to make a wish, this would be it.
You should send that to Ian and Phil.
Yeah, let them know. DB Hart said Butker became the highest paid kicker in the NFL today. Yep. His canceling doesn't seem to be working out so well. No, but I'm happy to hear that.
Because he is in one of the professions that is truly meritocratic.
Yeah.
He's going to succeed based on how well he can kick a ball.
Yeah, and he's probably a perfectly nice guy anyway. Not like they would care if he weren't.
I mean, it's a pretty famous thing for great actors and great athletes who have bad personalities. It actually leads to more allure to them that they can be both annoying and standoffish and still good at their job.
Yeah, but
it means you need them more than they need you.
Yeah, but I'm guessing, he probably is not the monster that people made him out to be.
Not at all.
Tacti Platty said, can you please dunk on millennials next time Dane is on? We can try. He might spontaneously combust, but we can try. Ulvin McGoth said...
Who is more woe is me, millennials or Gen Z? I feel like Gen Z is too nihilistic to be woe is me as much as it is. They've just kind of accept sometimes that the whole world is falling apart and it is what it is. And millennials live with the anger that they were hard done by the economy. And
millennials are more bitter. Millennials are bitter. Zoomers are like, I'm having a mental breakdown at the club. Like, that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
I'm not saying one is better than the other in an objective sense, but one of them is definitely less, Eeyore vibes. Yeah. One of them is just like, I've accepted my fate. The
thing is, though, is if the Gen Z people that truly believe that they're going to change the world, whether it be climate change or whatever else that they, buy into from their local bought and paid for politician, when they come to realize eventually that they're being sold a bill of goods, it's going to hit them hard.
If they ever come to that realization, which I feel is unlikely.
I mean, eventually you get a certain amount of doomerism out of it, even so much as it's to blame the other side. So they'll realize that no change is going to happen. They won't blame the politicians that sold them the bill of goods. They'll blame the politicians that oppose them, and it will just get worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, they're definitely already becoming disaffected. Alvin McGoth said, I was zoned out, then I hear yelling, mocking people like babies.
Who were we mocking like babies?
I don't know. Pop Culture Junkie said, Mary, you do a great whiner. Just need an animated character to accompany.
You're going to have to keep doing that.
Oh. Did I say something in like a baby voice?
Did you?
I don't even remember saying anything. But yeah, I know my future as a voice actor is coming soon. Corey Anderson said, shout out to Shane H. Wilder for his new haircut. Okay, shout out.
Shout out, Shane.
Shane H. Wilder said you didn't see I See All at all.
Yeah, we didn't. Sorry about that, bud.
Totally missed it. Left-Handed Link Gaming said still working on catching up on old PCC shows after requiring 2 months of major therapy thanks to the intense cringe I felt from that AI date video.
Which one was that?
Which video? At this point, I have no idea.
I don't even remember which one that was.
Something about AI girlfriends or...
We've done so many.
Or what? I can't tell. Drewish AF said, how dare you assume I meant Brett as daddy? Who was it then? I don't know. Red Snow said, oh crap, it's almost 5. Praise be to Space King.
Thank you.
You almost forget every time. A Magic Monkey said, I'm way behind and catching up from 5 days ago, and Mrs. Frazzle gives me a strong urge to punch things.
Yep.
You and us alike.
Pretty much probably the most authoritarian person on planet Earth is
more than me.
Even more than Mary.
Yeah.
And I guess the logic would be like, who would you rather be ordered around by?
I think I'm an authoritarian who wants to use force. She's an authoritarian who wants to use shame.
Consensus and shame.
Yes.
Well, you are the one who always says we need to bring shame back, which always is strange to me because shame is the number 1 tactic that the left uses.
Well, I mean,
it's why
it's
the
very
stuff about
effective if you would use it for the right reasons against the correct behaviors that should be shamed. That would be a good thing.
Don't let me get postmodern on you.
They're using shame against good, generative, positive behaviors, and they should be used against degenerate behaviors. That's what I'm saying.
It's why I believe that they're actually on a losing course right now. Not to get political. One drink later, which is, I like the new one, where it's like, I promise not to get...
1 5-hour energy later.
It's like 1 water later. The whole thing that they're doing now about weird is not going to work. It does not work nearly as well.
They've glorified weird for too long.
It's not just that, but it's like your claims are that the end of the world is not, the end of the world is here. The end is nigh, everything's falling apart, and that all is going to hell, and now you're labeling them weird. No, when you call everyone a racist, sexist, homophobic person, or you say they're an evil R-wordist or whatever else, right? They use very serious claims to dirty you up and label you. But when you label someone as weird, that's some weird social ostracization.
You
that
can't
I don't think
go
it works
from
as well.
calling Trump an incarnation of Hitler
to weird.
to calling him weird. That just doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
Shane H. Wilder said, over 20 hours without eating, us Catholics, first time. Yeah. I don't know what they were being so dramatic about. They should be glad, actually. It's like a fat camp. Everyone gets to lose weight and become skinny at the Mr. Beast game show. Corey Anderson said, why don't they just go commando? Birth control prevents menstruation. The complaints do not make sense. Mr. Beast shouldn't deal with weak people.
Well, you know.
I don't even know what to address in that whole statement. But
I don't get the birth control part of that. Oh, because the women had they were on their periods. Okay.
Well, I don't know if they were on birth control. Yeah. They probably weren't. But yeah. Potatoes for Seamus said, hi Brett, hi Mary, happy Monday. Dogpool rules.
Dogpool was a good part of the movie.
I hated it.
You hated the dog?
Yeah.
I love the dog.
What is there to like about it? It looks gross.
It was funny.
I know that's like the point.
Purpose, yeah.
But like, what's cute about it? You know, it needs to be cute and gross looking.
Should have been a corgi.
Yeah, you're right. It should have been. Shane H. Wilder said, I think HCB is going to talk to that supposed contestant. We'll see what comes of that.
Hopefully a good expose, an article.
Interesting. Shane H. Wilder, I tried to watch Battleship a year or two ago and couldn't do it. It was just a generic alien invasion film that they threw Battleship branding on.
That's the most Hollywood thing I've ever heard.
But like, no one even cares that much about Battleship. Am I wrong?
Yep.
It's like making a movie out of the game Sorry.
It's not the same as like Clue.
It's like making a Yahtzee game.
Clue made sense to be made into a movie.
Or a Yahtzee movie, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Red Snow said it's first date round 2. What? So does that just mean it's a second date?
Huh?
Simplify this for me. Or you canceled the first time that you planned the first date and now you are doing the first date for real this time?
They'll have to let us know.
I don't know. We need more information. Potatoes for Seamus said new channel for PCC called Only Comments.
It's like the comment section, but...
Why would it be called that? We would just read your comments?
Yeah.
Tacty Flatty said, I saw Battleship at a drive-in theater with a girl I was dating at the time. Story sucked, but graphics were great. Rihanna was so stupid in that movie.
Okay.
Rihanna was in it?
All right. Maybe I'm going to check it.
Am I crazy?
What streaming service is it on? I'm going to have to...
She must have been desperate for a paycheck. That's crazy. Joy W said pop culture fashion sponsored by Timcast.
I mean
that would be great.
Brett Cooper kind of does her like fashion reviews on her shorts and stuff, right?
They're talking about the wardrobe department. Like Timcast needs a wardrobe department. Shane H. Wilder said, looked it up.
Battleship is on Peacock. I'm gonna have to.
You're actually going to watch it.
I'm gonna watch. I think I'm gonna watch Battleship tonight. Alexander Skarsgård.
Why?
Brooklyn Decker. Liam Neeson. Rihanna. I remember none of this. Taylor Kitsch. Ooh,
apparently,
Peter McNichol's in it.
Zooey Deschanel was in the Purple Crayon movie.
Nobody remembered.
Like, why?
You've made your money, lady. Why are you still acting?
Shane H. Wilder said, looked it up. Hulk Hogan was in a small band and was discovered playing a gig who thought he would be a good wrestler.
Makes sense. You just gotta teach him out. You gotta take him to wrestling school.
He doesn't do music anymore. Hiroshima Otaru.
He does air guitar with the WCW Championship.
Does that count?
Yes, it counts.
Hiroshima Otaru said, for you, AI girlfriend was the most important cringe of your life. For me, it was Tuesday. Medically damaging cringe. Shane H. Wilder said, thanks for the haircut shout out. Apparently I'm not as ugly now, but Bertman thinks I look more tarted, but not as tarted as him.
I decided when we were making the thumbnail where Mr. Beast looks soulless and his eyes look dead, I was like, he really just needs like an adult haircut.
Yeah, he needs to, get like some kind of fade going on.
He can afford a hairstylist.
I mean, that's not even in question.
He's
I
rich.
think, but in a way, like being that rich and having a bad haircut is a flex in and of itself because you're like, I don't even need to have a good haircut.
Kind of like how Mark Zuckerberg would just wear the same thing every day. Yeah.
Like he only very recently started caring how he looks.
I hated when they would give their like Silicon Valley tech answer as to why they do. Like, it cuts down on the decision making that I make every day because I'm focusing on work. I'm like, shut the fuck. Just say you want to wear the same thing every day. It's fine. Nobody believes you're wearing the same shirt every day. Nobody believes the billionaire puts on the same shirt every day. They believe that you have 50 of the same shirt and you just put a different one on every day.
And they know for a fact that that particular shirt costs $1,000.
Maybe, yeah.
Almost certainly. Left-Handed Link Gaming said episode 609 with Kino. Brett said, the F did you just make me watch? The guy ends up K-ing himself with a steak knife?
What?
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 I don't know what that's referring to.
Damn. We went hard on this channel back then.
It was like not that long ago. Ulvin McGoth said, I saw Battleship as a kid. It wasn't just labeled Battleship. They attacked the Navy and the fight was restricted to rules of the game somehow.
I'm going to have to watch this now tonight. Just purely out of, curiosity.
Can we watch the Vince Vaughn clip now since everybody is talking about it?
What are we going to, let's talk about it tomorrow.
I mean, everybody is bringing it up, so we might as well just,
Is it here?
He had a good laugh on Hot Ones. Shane H. Wilder said, I'm waiting for the Trivial Pursuit movie.
That would be great. Hold on, here we go, guys.
Yeah, he's talking about
no
why there
longer
aren't any
making
good
the kinds of R-rated,
comedies.
wide-release theatrical comedies that were such a tower of strength in your career. How have you seen Hollywood's interest in making those kinds of films change over the course of your career, and what do you think are the forces at play?
Well, they just overthink it, and it's like, it's crazy. You get these rules. It's like if you did geometry, and you said 87 degrees was a right angle, then all your answers were messed up instead of 90 degrees. So there became some idea or concept, like, they would say something like, you have to have an IP.
Right.
So for some reason, Battleship, which is like a game we used to play like a graph, became a vehicle for storytelling. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I know.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
Whereas like an IP, like John Hughes from our neck of the woods, right? Mm-hmm. An IP was a girl's turning 16. Like every girl turns 16. Or I'm gonna cut school.
Well, you can't do that anymore because not every girl who turns 16 lives the same life, and you could be excluding someone.
And what if she is a girl turning 16 who actually identifies as a boy and who is disabled and queer and Native American?
What is the race, gender, and socioeconomic makeup of this 16-year-old?
We're not even scratching the surface.
Like I just said, like I've been watching the OC, and you see like these horrible rich people that are still portrayed nicer than most people are portrayed in movies and television now.
They used to be more charitable.
Life situations or old school. What if I got to go back and, be in a fraternity now at this stage of the game? The people in charge don't want to get fired more so than they're looking to do something great. So they want to kind of, follow a set of rules that somehow like get set in stone that don't really translate. But as long as they follow them, they're not going to lose their job because they can say, well, look, I
crunched the numbers.
Yeah, I made a movie off the board game Payday, so you can't, even though the movie didn't work, you can't let me go, right? So people want to laugh. People want to look at stuff that feels a little bit like it's, dangerous or pushing the envelope. And I think you're going to see more of it in the film space sooner than later, would be my guess.
Yeah. Look.
That's how Harold and the Purple Crayon happened.
Yes, it is.
Because they're dumbasses. High Voltage 75 said, remember Hogan's daughter Brooke's pop music career? Haha, me neither. I remember.
Yep.
Because you showed me her music video and I thought it was cool.
I was like, what the hell? Forgot about this.
James Marone said, fun drinking game. Watch Django Unchained and take a shot every time you hear the N-word.
I was just given an N-word pass, and I feel like if I was to do that, it would revoke my pass. So I'm gonna hold off. I'm not gonna do that one.
Yeah. High Voltage 75 said favorite vegetable. What's your favorite vegetable?
I don't know. What do you have?
You have to pick one.
I've been tomatoes are good now. I hated tomatoes before. I like tomatoes. It's not. It's a fruit.
It's a fruit.
Olives.
Is that? I think that's also a fruit. It has the seed inside.
Nope. I'm just gonna say green olives.
It has the seed inside of it, so it's a fruit. That doesn't count.
That's my answer, and I am free to be wrong.
Okay. I'm trying to think about mine. It's got to be Brussels sprouts.
Ugh.
I don't know if I've talked about this on the show before, but I felt like I was going to be judged. I love really like charred Brussels sprouts, and I like to dip them in frothed, hot, like heavy cream.
That's disgusting.
It's the best thing ever. I love it. It's been too long since I've had that.
When was the last time you had that?
I mean, it's got to be a year. I don't know why, but I love Brussels sprouts.
Potatoes are classified as a vegetable. I'll say potatoes.
They're a root vegetable.
I will say potatoes.
But what if you're like not allowed to fry them?
What do you mean?
Like, just got to have like a boiled potato.
I could probably do it.
Yeah?
Yeah, doesn't sound good, but...
Ian Slater said Battleship had a lot of retired vets in the movie.
Okay. Look, they're building lore around this movie now that I feel like I need to see.
I feel like they were setting us up for a joke about Stephen Hawking. Never mind. Left-Handed Link Gaming said you asked which AI date video.
Again, I don't know which one. So somebody got...
AI girlfriend?
Is that, or like, I don't know.
Episode 609.
We'll have to watch it later.
Somewhere. Tacti Platty said Mary should... Oh, wait, no, I remember it now. It was the one where the it's like... it's like AI generated video, but the sound is from a TikTok where the girl is saying like, "Oh, are you in your cottage?"
Oh, yes, okay. I saw another one just like that recently.
Yeah, but it's not actually AI. That was a real person.
It was an AI video, but a real audio clip.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, yeah, we would not show someone committing sewer slide on the show.
Correct.
We would not do that. Tati Plati said Mary should watch Old School and record her reaction.
I mean, maybe you should watch old school comedies. I mean, you were talking earlier about like what he's talking about here about, you know, a John Hughes movie or an old comedy about being in a fraternity. Like these are like real world experiences that are different than terminally online ideas.
I mean, I've watched John Hughes movies. I've watched stuff like, you know, License to Drive, stuff like that. Like, I like that type of thing, and you should make things as relatable as possible, in my opinion. But is Old School referring to something in particular?
It's a movie.
What is it about?
It's you should just watch it. Watch it and then go back and review it with people.
I can't vet it first.
No. If you, whenever we tell you what something's about, you either say that sounds stupid or
no. Just tell me.
No.
I swear.
Watch Dodgeball. Or basketball.
Basketball?
Yep.
This is getting more and more confusing. Yep. Shane H. Wilder said, "What about a Connect 4 or Chinese checkers movie?"
There you go.
Yeah, you can do all the games. James Barone said, "If tomato is a fruit, then is ketchup a fruit smoothie?"
It's disgusting.
It's disgusting. Technically, I think yes. Joy W said strawberries are fruit and have seeds on the outside. Yeah, but that's like a berry, so that's different, right?
All of this stuff is the type of thing that just trick people into thinking that it's important and it's not important. These are all just trivia facts that are distinctions without a difference that don't actually matter.
Well, Shane H. Wilder says olives are a fruit. They are drupes or stone fruit like peaches or plums. Best two vegetables, broccoli and asparagus. Fight me.
All of those.
I like both of those.
All right.
I'm a vegetable stan.
All right. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Guys, we are going to get going here, so we'll probably get that third crisis party as a post-credit scene. It depends on how quickly it comes before the credits get done. But, Mary, let everybody know where they can find you.
Yes, you can send me validation on Instagram at MaryArchived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also MaryArchived.
All right, guys, if you want to follow me, Instagram and Twix at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. Remember that this show is here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. We are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify if you'd prefer to listen rather than watch the show. And if you want to follow the show on social media, we are on Twix at popculture_show, Facebook and not TikTok because we are banned on TikTok at Pop Culture Crisis, and on Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. There's the third crisis party. So there we go.
Yay.
There we go. All right. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, after the third crisis party, there's one more there.
Joy W said, I gives money, 'tis all that technically matters. That's kind of nihilistic.
A little nihilistic. With all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.